Hello everybody, Jay Boyer here. And I am really excited tonight because I have on the line my friend, my business partner, certainly my mentor, John S. Rhodes, on the call with us here tonight. And we have a big crowd. We have over 100 people, it looks like, already on the line here. And the night is still young, and I'm excited. I'm really excited because John knows how to do one thing better than anybody else that I know, and that is drive traffic to his blogs and affiliate sites and other web properties via article marketing. And now you may be saying, oh my gosh, article marketing, that's old school, right? That's like 2003 stuff. But I'm here to tell you that there is no better way to drive consistent traffic to any web property that you have for free than article marketing. And John is the man. When I got started online, I started building these affiliate sites, and I was cranking out articles, dozens and dozens of articles myself that I wrote, and I started outsourcing it, and I spent, four figures, definitely thousands of dollars outsourcing these articles. And then after I met John, I realized I was doing it wrong the whole time. I was doing it wrong the whole time, and I basically, flushed tons of time and money down the toilet because I wasn't doing this correctly. Article marketing is the for shizzle, and certainly it's free. One of the best ways to drive traffic to your stuff. And John is an expert. He knows this better than anybody that I know, up, down, backwards, forwards. He knows this stuff cold, and he's going to show you some stuff. Maybe you've done some article marketing yourself, maybe not, but he's going to show you some tricks and tips tonight that you have never even heard of, I'm sure. I promise that. And so having said that, John, I'm going to turn the controls over to you here tonight. I thank you for being here. I thank everybody for being here on the call. And I'm going to put the microphone down and start taking notes. So there you go, John. Thank you so much.
Jay, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. And it's kind of funny, Jay's story about article marketing is the same story I have with a lot of people. It's the same interaction, the same story pretty much every time. It's like, oh, I invested all this time or all this money or all this time and money in article marketing and, just not seeing those results. And I say, well, are you doing this? Are you doing that? Are you trying this? And it's funny because every time I ask certain questions, the other person slaps their head. And, Jay and I laugh about that. But just a couple of questions that I asked Jay totally changed his perspective on article marketing, what article marketing is really all about and how to use it most effectively for the lowest cost and the biggest bang for the buck. So very powerful stuff tonight. So I do encourage you to take notes. I do encourage you to either write those out or type them up. And also it's very, very important along the way to interact. I found that with my coaching students, I found that with folks that I work with as clients, that the interaction really, truly drives the points home and makes it stick. So ask me questions. I watch the questions as they come in. If they make sense along the way, I will answer them immediately. I do watch the questions very closely. If they don't make sense, well, we'll just sort of flag them and take care of them at the end. So we're here for massive free traffic, or next to free, as close to free as we can possibly get through article marketing mastery. And that really means a lot of different things. We can be talking about search engine optimization and getting backlinks. We can be talking about authority. We can be talking really about speed writing and rapid content creation. Keep that in mind, right? Everything else might mean nothing to you, but if you understand the power of getting things done a lot faster with your content, you're going to make more money. Money equals speed, speed equals money. So very important. So the subtitle here, maybe you can't quite read it, so I'll read it for you, is how to get more free traffic with articles even if you can't type up an email or spell the word cat. In other words, you don't really have to have, crazy and insane skills. Certainly I don't have any special talent or special skill when it comes to putting my articles together and generating traffic and making money, and the same thing goes for Jay. There's no real wizardry here. It's just doing the right things at the right time, really the right way. So You may or may not know me, so I'll cover this very quickly, and it is appropriate for our article marketing discussion. So I've created way over 100 info products. I really need to do an inventory to see how many I've created. So part of my info product creation is the rapid generation of content, the very rapid, super speed, as fast as I can go while maintaining a high level of quality content generation. So you're going to learn about that tonight and how that fits into what you're doing. I've published over 100 Amazon books. It's 107 or 108. So I've published a lot too, and that means I've put the content out there and I've generated a lot of money from that, a lot of residual, autopilot cash. That relates to articles as well. We'll find out why later on. I've managed a lot of money. I've created products and worked with and supported top marketers in internet marketing. I charge a ton of money for one-to-one consultations. And I really, Jay said this, and it pretty much sums things up, is I get article marketing and content creation, the content creation and writing that goes along with article marketing. That includes systems, by the way. So if you've ever wondered, like, well, how do I outsource this? What do I need to outsource? How much should I spend? I'm going to reveal that tonight. And if I don't reveal it to your satisfaction, drill me on it and really, kind of punch me in the gut and say, hey, give me the goods. Tell me what you know, and I'll deliver. So I get this article marketing thing like no one else, as Jay had mentioned earlier. Now, why this training? Why article marketing? I mean, we've heard so many different times that article marketing is dead. I've been hearing that more and more, and there have been Google updates, and there have been changes, and there is more competition, and a lot of people just say, oh, it's old. It's so 2003. Jay said it, and it's so much. It's so funny to me to hear that, and I think, well, okay, well, I'll just keep doing what works, and I'll make the money, and that's great. And that's actually one of the reasons why Jay invited me on for the training. He said, dude, you're getting these clicks for dirt cheap. Can you prove it? Can you show just how cheaply you're getting clicks and why this traffic is next to free, especially the quality of it? And that's really why this training is here for you tonight. Because if you're not using article marketing, you're pretty much just burning your money. And someone else is going to get that money and get those clicks, and you deserve them. You put the time in, you're here, congratulations on being here, that's totally awesome, and you deserve it. You're putting the time in, you're putting the energy in, you deserve these really cheap, if not free, clicks. And I will show you this later on. If you're not using article marketing, the coolest thing is that you really can get super high quality clicks for 5 to 10 cents. Now, there's a question about the books, and this is from Tom. Tom's like, hey, I only see about 14 books for sale on Amazon. Well, that's because I use pen names, okay, Tom? I work in a bunch of different niches, and I use pen names for a wide variety of reasons. If you want to ask me about that later on, totally cool. You can ask me about the pen name thing later on. By the way, the reason I answered that is because I used, the answer is pen names, and I use pen names for my niches, and that includes the article marketing that I do, and I encourage other people to use pen names as well. Again, if I don't cover that to your satisfaction, punch me in the gut and grab me by the throat, give it to me, John. Great. So here's part of the burning cash thing. Buying traffic is expensive, and it just keeps going up. It's getting not only more expensive, it's getting more difficult to get traffic. By actually spending money to get traffic, it's getting harder and harder. I love to spend money on traffic, but I'm terrible at it. So I keep doing the free stuff, and you're going to learn that tonight. But it's also because it gets harder. Every time I turn around, I'm like, it's a little bit harder to do this. I have to worry about demographics, and I have to worry about new systems, new platforms, and the cost keeps going up. Crazy, right? Another thing is, and we kind of joke about this, again, you've heard this a couple times now, but a lot of people think that article marketing is dead. And that is great for people like me who are systematically, creating more and more articles and getting that cheap traffic. And in fact, the cost of my traffic, surprisingly, is going down. The cost of my traffic is going down over time. I'll explain that later on. And look, you need cheap traffic. It's kind of like buying a house. When do you make money when you buy a house? Is it when you buy it or when you sell it? It's when you buy it. You make money on the buy itself. So if you can get a house, when you buy a house and it's under market value, you make money on that buy. It's the same thing with traffic. If you can get traffic cheaply, That means you can work with lower margins in some cases. It means you can do a lot more testing for a lot less money. So you actually need cheap traffic for the long term, or you end up burning a lot of cash, a lot of time, and your business will flame out. And we don't want that. And that's why a lot of people, by the way, try article marketing. They don't do it the right way, and they drop like flies. And we're going to learn how to prevent that tonight. So do you smell this opportunity? Do you smell the money? I mean, because this is a huge opportunity for you. People are turning their back on article marketing, and it's hotter than ever, even though it seems kind of 2003. It's the coolest thing.
I smell what you're cooking, John. I smell what you're cooking.
Most people, you smell the bacon. You smell the article marketing bacon.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, but every time I look at my stats, I'm like, well, this is just the easiest traffic I can possibly get. I mean, I'm very familiar with article marketing, but it's really just so passive and easygoing. And does it work overnight? It can. In some cases, it can. But it's definitely great for an initial surge of traffic, and then over time you get that trickle of traffic, and that trickle of traffic really adds up to a massive list build as well. And there's obviously money in the traffic and money in the list build. And again, we'll talk about this a little bit later on. I'll show you very concrete examples on how to make this work for you most effectively. And I love that people think that article marketing is lame. I love that people think that Google hates articles now. Not true. Both, myths, not true. And the secret is this. This is something that you can immediately use. It's a small mental shift. It's not a big mental shift. It's a small mental shift. And this really helps people who are good at generating any kind of content, whether it's their blogs, or whether it's for their emails or their product creation. Articles are really nothing more than a special kind of content. And it's really this that happens. When you create good content, if not great content, you're providing value. When you provide value in the market, people reward you. They reward you with traffic and clicks, and great things happen. The other thing is that if you understand the right way of setting up your articles and creating articles, that means the right way, the right framework, the right system, the right process, you're going to get the right focus. And we all know that, we get distracted by the shiny objects, but with article marketing, it's kind of like, well, lather, rinse, repeat, lather, rinse, repeat, and that means you can very easily focus on it. And things that you can focus on mean that you can either start to ignore, spend less time on, or very easily outsource because they're so straightforward and easy for you. So you're going to see that tonight. And in this training, I'm going to give you the exact formula that I've used to get way over 20,000 clicks. And that's actually an extremely conservative number. Okay, so what is article marketing? Now that this sounds like a pretty good idea, and we're all excited here together, what is this article marketing thing? Because actually, a lot of people don't know what article marketing is. The funny thing is that most people don't want to hear the truth. As I said, articles really are just a simple type of content. There's nothing special about text on the screen. Okay, there's nothing like, ooh, it's text on the screen. Well, okay, you're seeing text on the screen now. So there's more to the story than just creating the simple content. It's how you use that content, and it's how fast you can create the content. It's what value that content provides at the right time. I will show you exactly what I'm talking about in just a few minutes here. Now, this content is ultra simple. It's boring and even lame. I mean, I say this all the time, and I just joke about it with people that I work with, coaching students, people that are my clients, people that are on my staff. We joke that article marketing and the article content is lame. It doesn't mean the quality is low. It just is like, it's just text on the screen. But you get the flood of clicks. Okay, now, breaking this down, let's take a look at what people screw up. Most people screw up the intention of the article. This is very important. What is the purpose or the goal? More importantly, the specific intention of the article. This will become clear. But think about intention here really being about the goal or the purpose of your article, or really your article marketing and the article marketing overall, your system that you've put in place. So that intention, that's very, very important. It sounds kind of like, what? Okay, set goals for my content. It's much more important than what you realize, and I'll explain in just a moment. the framework as well, actually creating, even doing the research, and then the creating, the writing, the submission, and then the monitoring of your articles. The framework is broken for most people. So I'm going to explain the framework that you want to use for your article marketing. And then the bio box. All right, the bio box is the author resource box. That's the area at the end of the article where you're very much allowed to point off to your own web property. Okay, so you can put links that go off to different pages in the body of an article. I'll explain some of that later on, and we can talk about that during Q&A. But really the bio box, or the article resource box, the author resource box, or the bio box, that's where you can put your links in, and most people screw that up as well. It's actually tied to the intentionality or the intention of the article. So let's fix these problems. So now you know the sort of the promise and the greatness to a degree of article marketing, but you also know that there are these pitfalls, things that can go wrong that we don't want to go wrong. And I want you to not step on the landmine. I do not want you to fall into the pit of doom. Okay, so here's why article marketing works. We're going to get a little bit more specific. Article marketing actually works really well because you're giving people exactly what they want. In other words, someone is searching on Google for something, either entertainment or an answer or how-to information, and then you're going to give them exactly what they want at the right time. So your timing is impeccable, and you're giving them the answer to a problem, or you're entertaining them in a way that's related to a search that they just did. The vast majority of traffic flows like this. So you might want to write this down. The vast majority of traffic that's flowing to your site coming from your articles really works like this. Someone has a problem in the real world. Sometimes they have a problem with their computer, or they have a problem with technology, or they have a problem with something that's on the internet or the web, right? Maybe something on their mobile phone, but typically people have some problem in the real world, right? There's maybe they have a medical problem. They smash their elbow and it's blowing up like a balloon, and they're freaking out. Like, what is this? Why is my elbow blowing up like a balloon? I'm really freaking out. It's kind of jiggly and weird, and like I'm freaking out. So people they have these problems, right? So people have problems, and what will happen is they do searches. What do? They go to Google 75, 85% of the time, somewhere in that range, depending on what the questions are and so on. And there's a problem, so they go to Google and they do a search. And then your article shows up, meaning the article that's posted on an article directory, like Go articles or eZine articles, that's where your article is posted, and I'll explain that a little bit more in a minute. But your article is posted there because it matches what they're looking for, their search. They find your article, they go to the article directory, they go to eZine articles, let's say, they read your article, then they see that you have more information about the mysterious elbow ballooning effect from smashing your elbow, and they click to go to your site to get free information or whatever it happens to be. So, I mean, that's where the traffic comes from. The traffic is coming not from eZine articles or the article directory, and it's not really coming from Google. It's coming from the challenges and problems and situations or the context that an individual's in. They just happen to go to Google, and they just happen to find your result, which points them to eZine articles or Go articles or the article directory, and then your bio box or author resource box is there, and then they land on your site. They go to your blog, they go to your free information site, the squeeze page, sales page, whatever it is. That flow is important because now you understand why people are warmed up. You know, we talk a lot about people being cold leads or cold traffic and warm traffic. That's pretty warm traffic because people have these problems, or they need something or they want something. Then they've jumped through the hoops. They've sort of crawled over broken glass to get to you. And it's your duty, your obligation to give them a result that makes sense. The result is your article, and it's also, of course, the free information that's available on your website. Very cool.
Hey John, let me say one thing. That's why that is the one thing, you just hit the nail on the head there. The one reason why I love article marketing so much and why it's so effective is it's one problem, one solution, and it is super targeted as per your keywords that you throw in the title there. And I mean, that's the sauce right there, and that's the juice. And you talk about warming up your, I mean, they're already hot, warm or hot by the time they reach your money site, by the time they click through your resource box and they land in your money site there. And you've already warmed them up, and it's super targeted traffic. I love that.
Yeah, and not only are they warmed up, okay, not only are they hot because of the topic, they are warmed up to you, not just the topic, but to you by association. Mm-hmm. Now, I have some caveats to that we need to discuss. We have to get into that one level deeper, but they are also warmed up to you, your writing style, your comedy, if you have anything injected there, just the way you put sentences together, and so on. So there's a know, like, and trust factor that's built in as well. So it's not just that they are warm because of the topic, they are warmed up to you personally. It's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that they clicked through to your website shows that they have already acknowledged you as an expert.
There's already a transfer of authority. There's already that transfer of authority. That's exactly right, Jay. Matson says it's easing. I like to say easine. I don't care how other people say it. I don't care how easine article says it. I say easine.
I hate people who say easine. That's weird.
I say easine, and that's the way it is. So that's what I do.
There's two types of people in the world, right?
Tomato people.
Yeah, easine, izine. I'm an easine article. I'm with you, Matson. Go ahead. Sorry.
But people have this problem. You have the solution. No, it's great. It's great input, Jay. Really, it's excellent. It's excellent feedback and additional material. And who's delivering the information? It's you. You're delivering answers, entertainment, quick knowledge. So it's great. And here's the thing. You can position your article, and this is probably the most important thing that you've heard all night. The other material is very good and important. It sets the stage, and the idea of warm traffic versus cold traffic and so on is really cool. Here's the deal, though. Your article, if done right, remember we're talking about article marketing, not just individual articles sitting there independent without context. There is context, and the context or the background here is that you can position your article right before what I call an action decision. And an action decision is something like buying a product on Amazon. So if someone's doing let me actually ask the question, who here has ever done research before buying something in the real world or online? Have you ever used the internet for research? Have you ever used the internet for research? And
Leanne says, you betcha.
You betcha, right? Cindy says,
a couple of you betchas there. Always.
Oh yeah,
course,
all of us, every day. Yes, yes. And so here's the thing. You know that's what people are doing. Everyone uses the internet to do their research before they make a purchase. Now, it doesn't mean that you always do research before every purchase, but that's part of the secret, right? You know that people are hot to do research before buying certain products. For example, I recently bought a new computer. I did tons of research. If you've bought a new computer, you've probably done tons of research as well. If you've bought a car, making a major, purchase, you've probably done research. So what do? You put yourself right in front of that with your article. So you can write review articles, for example. That's crazy, right? Because you are right in front of, you're the barrier, you're the gate, you're even in some cases the angel with the answer kind of floating in like a butterfly. You come in and you deliver exactly the right information at the right time about that buying decision. So it doesn't mean that you're going to write a review and say, hey, go find other information about this. You can orient your articles using buying language. So in other words, rather than doing a straight-up review, you can talk about someone who's actually bought the product. When you buy the computer, when you buy the dehumidifier, when you buy this ceiling fan, you will find X, Y, and Z. So you can talk as if. You can use language in your articles that makes the person have the frame of mind that they've already bought. And that moves them one step. It's a ninja trick, right? It's like copywriting. You're moving them one step closer to that buying decision. And who's that gate? Who's the gatekeeper? Well, it's you. If you are the affiliate, they're going to click through and buy through you if you set your articles up the right way. And it's usually just a small shift in your language from being more of a review to more of, hey, once you have it in your hands and you're doing this, keep this in mind. That makes people more likely to make a purchase. Another thing that's under this action decision umbrella is getting more free information, like a squeeze page. What's that do for you? What good is a squeeze page? A squeeze page basically says, look, I'll give you something like a free report. I'll give you a download, a software package, some graphics, if you give me your email address. So if someone's reading an article about something, and then your bio box says, get more free information, what happens? You are right in front of that action decision. The action decision is getting more information. And when someone wants to get more information, they are willing to give up their credentials. In this case, they're willing to give up their email, their first name, email, and so on. Very, very powerful. Okay? Now, this is all. Now we have a sort of a basis. We've got the background of article marketing behind us, and now we're going to get a little bit more advanced, a little bit more specific. So article marketing isn't about writing articles, it's about delivering value. And what does that really mean? Okay, here are some open secrets for you. Number one is you don't need your own traffic. You can piggyback on traffic from Google being transferred over to e-zine articles, right, or e-zine articles. You're piggybacking on that traffic. You don't need to be able to write. In other words, once you've done a number of articles, you can develop a system, or really a system will emerge. Because if you've done 5 or 10 articles and you've done them the same way more than one time, a few times, then what happens is you build a system. And what can you do with a system? You can outsource the work very, very cheaply, right? You don't need to hire someone for $15, $20. You can get someone at a very, very low, very, very reasonable rate because they're following your system. We'll talk about some of the dollars and cents a little bit later on. So imagine what this means for you. Long-term free traffic, passive traffic really, because it's set and forget. You write the article, you post it, it's out there, you get the traffic. Easy reinvestment, so as the money comes in, even a trickle of traffic, it's very easy to take that money and invest in outsourced resources. Now, does that sound boring and old and kind of lame to you? Well, it doesn't sound boring or lame to me because it's free traffic, it's easy, it's passive, and it's basically stood the test of time. Okay, now here's some proof. People like to see this. Now, this is proof that article marketing works, and this should get you excited. This is an inside view with one of my accounts that I happen to have as an article marketer for e-zine articles. Okay, you can see the number of views, the profile views, e-zine publisher, URL clicks, and so forth. I'll explain the most relevant data here. Okay, so 167,000 views of my articles. Pretty crazy, right? Because I only have 137 articles posted. Now, I know it sounds like a lot, but don't forget, I'm not writing all these articles myself. In fact, I very rarely write articles myself now. It's part of a machine, a system I have in place where other people are following my directions, my system for getting the articles created. So a bunch of these articles really were not written by me, but they've been viewed 167,000 times. Now, here's the thing. The 5.2% is actually terrible. So Eric says 5.2% is great. And most people are really impressed with a 5.2% click-through rate. That is horrendous. This is absolutely terrible. This is horrendous. This is terrible. And here's why. This particular account, okay, this particular account includes 45 test articles. So it's significantly driven down my click-through rate. Like a lot of people see the 5.2% and they're actually pretty happy with that, especially in ultra-competitive niches. Your click-through rate can be really quite low. In less competitive niches, click-through rate tends to go higher, although they can be high or low in any niche. So 137 articles, one account, and that means that on average, right, if we look at the number of clicks there, and this is what we really care about, those clicks, 8,645 clicks on those article views. So that is traffic that I don't have to pay for. This is that passive click-through traffic that we care about, that warmed up traffic, the know, like, and trust factor traffic, right? So I'm not paying for that traffic other than what I have spent with sweat equity or what I have put in terms of having people write the articles for me, right? And now here's some more data for you. Many of the articles that I get written don't cost me any more than about $3. I can get most of my articles written for about $3, and I can even get the article written and then posted for a little over $3. I actually have access to different people. You can find these folks too. I can talk more about that later on. For about 10 cents, they will post the article for me. They will actually post the article, meaning they will take a written or a completed article. They'll go to eZine Articles. They will drop in the title. They'll drop in the the summary. They'll drop in the body. They'll drop in my bio box format, the template that I give them. And if it gets rejected for whatever reason, they go back in and tweak it and tune it and make sure it gets done for 10 cents. So very, very powerful, right? You can find people that specialize in things like article submission for you. Now, what does this actually mean, right? It means that we're going to have a couple of hot secrets flying out here. The other thing is I'm going to come back to some of those numbers later on, some of the math. All right? So we'll actually talk about that in just a little while. And there's some questions about the click-through, the conversion rates and click-throughs and so on. A little bit later on I'll show that, okay? So a couple of hot secrets, right? So kind of fun here, right? So platinum status, this works really well. Now this is more for beginners than it is for someone who's advanced, but many people have asked me that, asked me this particular question. And the question is how do you get platinum status? Well, first, let me tell you what platinum status is. It's not super great. It's not like, wow, it's not the holy grail, but platinum status when it relates to eZine articles is they give you very fast review, much faster than having basic level. I believe there are 3 levels now. They switched it up somewhat recently, but I believe there are 3 levels. There's the basic level, the intermediate level, and then the platinum status level. There's actually a 4th level that you can pay for. I don't do that, no need. But with platinum status, you get very rapid, much faster article review, and that's cool. It's very, very cool. The other thing that's kind of nice is that you tend to get better feedback as well. In other words, you tend to get better feedback from the community. You tend to get better editor feedback as well if you follow this process. And the process is you want to submit the full allotment all at once, meaning if you have just set up your very first account, you want to submit the full allotment, which as of right now is 10 articles. So you can usually submit up to 10 articles with your basic status. You can usually get platinum status. I've actually had 100% success with this with my students who have done this. So again, you start off, you create your account with these 10 articles, and then what you do is you write 10 articles and submit all 10 at once. And I believe the reason this works is because you get the same reviewer. You get the same editor, the same reviewer. I've actually seen some comments coming back like, hey, thanks for submitting all at once. I've done that twice. And that's nice. And that means that every time you submit after that, you're going to get much faster reviews. So if you care about turnaround time and speed, then having that platinum status is a really nice thing. There's a question about using eZine articles exclusively. I use 2 or 3 different article directories on average. You know, I don't really use more than 2 or 3. I tend to use eZine articles and Go articles the most. I have more comments about that later on. So that's a really nice little secret there. And this one is really, really cool, right? You know, if you have an obvious winner, if you have an article that's really doing well, you can look at your statistics and go through what you want to do that I've found that has been very, very effective. And I don't have this on the John Rhodes account. I have it under pen names, and this works great. So what you do is if you have a winner, something that's getting a lot of views and very high click-through, then write more articles that are related to that article. And then what you can do is in your bio box and in the body itself, you can point off to that winner and establish or entrench that winner in the results. Okay, by winner I'm talking about, again, it's an article. Let's say you submit 10 articles, and out of those 10 articles, one of them is just going gangbusters. It's just doing better than every other article. It's got hundreds of views in very little time, in just a day or two, if not even thousands of views in just a few days. You're getting great click-through. If you see articles like that, write more articles that are about that topic, and then in your bio box and in the body of your article, point to that eZine article. Don't point to your money site. Point to the eZine article that you submitted, or your Go article, your article marketing article, and that will juice up the winner. I'm really big on juicing up winners and letting the failures fall to the side, not even really caring about those that have fallen behind. You want to strengthen the winners more than trying to shore up or bring the losers up to the average. You get much more mileage out of reinvesting in the winners. Okay, so again, that winner that I'm talking about is, let's say you've got 10 articles that have been submitted, and out of those 10, one of them is just going crazy. Way more views, way more click-throughs, way higher percentage of click-through percentage, the CTR. And if that's the case, then simply write more content about that. You know, pick the keywords that are related, semantically related. You can think of this as the LSI factor, the latent semantic indexing factor, or the semantic indexing factors. Don't worry about that jargon. What it means is you can use related keywords and write more content, and then point those articles at that winning article. That is really, really a valuable tip, and I've seen this work really well for raising up articles in the search engine results, and also entrenching articles if they've made it to page 1. Works very, very well. And again, I like to make the strong stronger. Does this work, and how do I know this works? Well, okay, here's the deal. Here's one of the, I picked an article. Again, this is on eZine articles, and I picked, make extra money on the side with contextual ads. That's the article. You can actually go out there and find it if you really feel like it. That's cool with me, all good. It's been viewed 245 times. No idea when I published it. I didn't look at the publication date, but it's been viewed 245 times, and 91 clicks. All right, so 91 clicks, 91 URL clicks. In other words, that's the number of times the URL in the bio box, in this case, was clicked and tracked. So for the folks that doubt the click-through rates, there's one example of a relatively high click-through rate. That means more than 1 out of every 3 people that view that article are clicking through. Okay, I'm gonna show you what I'm doing with different articles and how this is actually working. I'm going to give you the sort of quote unquote the secrets there as well. Okay, now here's the deal. This is the way to think about the value of these clicks. This you can very clearly say is internet marketing related, right? So we can look at this, and I focused on make extra money. The keyword here was make extra money. Now I happen to have on the side with contextual ads and so on, but this is make extra money. That's the particular title that I'm using in this case. Okay, so what I do to value the click is really quite simple. You can go to the Google keyword tool. You can go over to AdWords or the Google keyword tool and get an estimate about what these clicks are worth. We talked about warm traffic and getting people all lathered up and hot and bothered. Okay, we talked about that. But what about the money? What about the true market value of those clicks? Well, it's right there in black and white. I go to SpyFu. I use SpyFu for a number of different reasons, but one reason is that I like the results that it gives me. They are very, very much in line with what you'll find with Google as well. In fact, it might even be pulling from the Google data repository for all I know, because the numbers are so close. But you can see the value is right here. The cost per click is $2 to $2.46 per click. So all we have to do is run the numbers. So you take that phrase you can see there, make extra money, and do the multiplication. It's very simple. 91 clicks, and we'll use the low end, right? The low end of $2, and I know that that article has generated $182 of click value. Does everyone see how I did the math? I posted the article. It's got 245 views, and it's got a great click-through rate, but you can see 91 clicks. Does everyone see how those 91 clicks translate to $182 of real world click value. In other words, if I was paying for traffic and my keyword was make extra money, it would have cost me $182. Does everyone see how I came up with that math?
Hey, John, I'm glad that you quantified this here, because this is a really important point that lots of people miss when they talk about article marketing, whatever. The fact that you can outsource an article for $3, right, and get $182 worth of click value. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean, and that is money in the bank.
It's truly money in the bank that I'm saving, because let's say that let's kind of joke about this. Let's say an article cost me, let's say an article and article submission cost me $20. I would never pay that. That's way over what I would ever think of paying, no matter how good the article was. I just wouldn't pay that much. I don't need to. Think about investing $20 and making $182 back of value, because if you want, you have to have traffic. If you want to build your list, if you want to make money, you have to have traffic. There's no way around it. And here, very clearly, if I wanted that traffic and I wanted to pay for it using, pay per click, in this case, it's going to run me $180 to get those 91 clicks. $182 for the 91 clicks. That's just what it cost. So you need to know the numbers, because now you can very easily justify an investment in future articles. And this is when I say the investment. Now we can start talking in very creative ways about investing in outsourcing, and the reason why building your system for cranking out the articles and outsourcing is so important. Okay? Now, the next step, the next way to think about this is like, well, okay, I got the 91 clicks. Did they convert? That's a different topic. Leanne, that's a great question about the conversion of the 91 clicks. Absolutely, it's a great question, but it's a different topic. We can talk about it in a little while, but as far as the traffic goes, this is obviously very warm traffic, and there's a no like and trust factor built in here as well. So this is vastly superior to that very cold, in most cases, paid traffic. Okay, so remember, this is why I love article marketing, because I can outsource. Writing and submitting articles is free. If you don't want to do this, if you don't want to pay, you can do this yourself, and then it's sweat equity, and it's truly free. So you can, pocket that $182 that you'd have to spend with pay-per-click. You can even pocket the $5 it would cost you for the article creation and submission, and do it yourself. Truly free all the way across the board, other than, like I said, sweat equity here. Now, here's the thing. My articles are like zombies, right? They never die. I joke about this with other people. It's like, well, yeah, they're out there like, you can chop them up, you can shoot them in the chest, unless it's a headshot, right? Everyone knows that you have to shoot a zombie in the head or chop their head off. But I mean, really, unless it gets a headshot, zombies, man, they just sit there and they just continue to work. They do not stop. Articles are relentless. Now, what happens when you pay for traffic? That's a real question. What happens when you use pay-per-click and you pay for traffic? What happens? What happens next? What happens? So you pay for your traffic and you get the traffic. What happens? You have to. Mattson's got it. Anyone else? What happens after you pay for that traffic and you get the traffic? You pay for it and you get it. So if you've paid for traffic, you use pay-per-click, maybe you use banners, but if you're paying for traffic, what happens? That's right. Dion's got it as well. It stops. You pay once, you get the traffic, and it's done. You've consummated the deal, so to speak. You paid, you got the traffic, and it's done. Mattson says you have to keep paying. You have to pay to play when it comes to paid traffic. And don't get me wrong. I know people that crush it with paid traffic. They love paid traffic. But this is exactly why I like free, never-ending, undead, zombie-like traffic from articles. By the way, for blogs too, blogging as well. But this is why it never stops pulling traffic, right? Okay, so it's pretty obvious that article marketing can give you massive amounts of cheap and high-quality traffic, but why do articles work? So some of the questions coming in are interesting, right? how come this, why that, what's going on here, and it says, oh, I haven't explained, and guess what, I get that. So we're going to explore why articles work. And we're also going to explore how you can use article marketing, literally how you can do this to drive more traffic, right? So the why and the how we're going to drive into here. Now, number one, articles work because the cost is extremely low. You can fail again and again and again and again. You can fail in a major way with articles, and it doesn't do much damage to you at all. Like you pay $5, failure. Pay $5, failure. Pay $3, failure. Right? Or you can do it yourself. 1 article, 2 articles, 3 articles, 4. You do 4 or 5 articles, and maybe none of them work, but you do 7 or 8 or 10. One of those 10 articles, usually it's by the 10th article, you will see a winner. You'll see a winner sort of, you'll be like, wait a minute, that's what works. So the cost, there's a low barrier to entry. The cost is extremely low, if not zero. The other thing that's really cool about article marketing, and the reason that it works and works so well like gangbusters, is that you're using simple systems. You're not using any fancy pants tools. You're not using any crazy technology. It's proven old school technology, and the systems are very straightforward. You know, do your keyword research, write the article, post the article, put the bio box in, lather, rinse, repeat. That means it's outsourceable. That means you can very quickly figure it out if you haven't already done it. So it works because it's simple. The simplicity should be very appealing to you, especially if you're just getting started. But if you're more advanced and you have money and you have a team in place, or you can outsource, the simplicity should also be appealing to you, because that means you can very quickly and easily and cheaply outsource. So again, that ties into the cost being low, and it's also easier to monitor. There's, again, no fancy pants tools. Okay? Next thing here is because we've talked about this, let's be very specific here, because you can warm up these readers, and really what happens is when someone's reading one of your articles, you're doing pre-sales. Whether you're really far up in the funnel or really close to the sale, near the action that we want someone to take, which is buying or clicking or opting into our list, you're really doing pre-sales, and there's no pre-sales like this. I mean, sure, there are videos and there's blogging, but article marketing is really super powerful because of the pre-sales that you're doing, again, very quickly, easily, and cheaply. The other thing that's really cool is that you can basically control the click behavior with your bio box. I'm going to show you this a little bit later on, but I'll actually show you what you can do to really increase your click-through rate. Okay. Here is sort of we're going to pause for just a minute, and we're going to look at some deadly article marketing mistakes, because you might be foaming at the mouth, ready to just really dive in, like, John, you convinced me, I'm going to start article marketing, or I'm going to change my ways and do this and this, and I'm going to get into this right now. Well, before you race off over to Go Articles or eZine Articles, or you start looking for folks on, Rent-A-Coder or Elance or whatever it is that you're going to go and grab folks, I'm going to pause you just for a moment and make sure that you don't make these mistakes. Okay? You absolutely must align your article title with the body. You want to make a promise with your title. The title of an article is really, you're making a promise, because usually you're doing something like how to X, Y, and Z. And you want to make sure that the body of the article lines up, is in alignment with that title. And of course, if the title and the body are in alignment, you want to make sure the bio box is in alignment with the title and body as well. This makes a slippery slope in your favor. It's a greased chute, as Joe Sugarman would say. You slide right down that chute. Very powerful here. That is mistake number one, is that people do not line up conceptually and in terms of keywords. They do not line up the title, the body, and the bio box. Another thing is that people hand out spaghetti. And what I mean by that is, or they throw spaghetti against the wall, is they talk about a million different things in their article. Right? It's not focused. And you really need to follow the sniper's motto. Does anyone know what the sniper's motto is? Do you know what the sniper's motto is? It's very important. It is very applicable to many things I do in my business. But the sniper's motto, Matt has it. Matt has it. Any other guesses before? Okay, James, you've got it. There we go. Rob's got it. Okay, so, well, that Bill, very, very close. Tom's got it. So here's the O. Okay, the sniper's motto is one shot, one kill, right? One bullet, one kill. And the reason that the sniper's motto is so important is because if you think about your article having one purpose, in that the title and the body and the bio box all must be in alignment on that specific topic for a specific goal, the sniper's motto keeps you focused so that you're not handing out spaghetti and sending people in 10 different directions. You want to know what your intention of that article is. The intention is to get the person's attention, get them reading, slide them down to the bio box, get the click in most cases. I'll talk about that a little bit later on, but that really will help you. That helps you, by the way, edit. A lot of people have trouble with their articles. They write articles and they're like, well, it's not very good. How do I edit it? How can I edit faster? If you know the exact purpose and you eliminate the spaghetti and focus on the one clear purpose, the sniper's motto comes through like a beacon of hope and light, shines the spotlight on the exact thing you need to do, and that really clears the clutter. That is going to help you enormously with your editing. If you don't do that and you hand out the spaghetti, people, they come and they bounce. They come in, they go, okay, here's the promise, here's the headline. They start reading, and you're all over the place blathering. They're going to bounce. They're going to leave. They're going to go back to Google and leave you in the dust. Another thing is WIIFT. What's in it for them? Not what's in it for you, but what's in it for them. What's in it for the other person reading? What are they getting out of it? So when they read your article, what do they need to be taking away? If you're not giving something to someone that satisfies their curiosity, if you're not answering the problem, if that's not built into your article, then really you're not going to do very well at all. Another thing, number 4, is letting your ego get in the way when asking for a click. This is a major bio box problem, an author resource problem. I promise I will get to this later on. The ego being a problem. When you let your ego get in the way, everything goes to hell in a handbasket. Basically, everything you're doing right is completely destroyed if you let your ego get in the way when it comes to the construction of your bio box. So stay with me for that. That's very important. Another thing is reader grease. You need to be using bullets and chunks and subheads in your articles. You must be using reader grease for maximum effectiveness. Most people don't do this. They just write an article, they throw it out there, and they go, hey, how come people aren't reading this? How come they're not clicking through? Because they're not using reader grease. Again, the chunks, the subheads, breaking up the content. Again, I will talk about this in just a moment. So here we go. Question. Who wants my secret for knowing the perfect length of any article? So fingers on keyboard. Who wants my secret? Do you want my secret for knowing the perfect length for any article?
I want your secret, John.
You want my secret, Jeff.
Me.
Me. So it's Jeff and Brad and Barbara and Vanessa and
there's guesses coming in. 600 words, 400 words.
Sure. And this is what's interesting. This is what's so wonderful about this question is you can't get it right with one answer. It's beautiful. So the secret is really multiple secrets, so you cannot win. But I am very glad about the enthusiasm here. Now here's the thing. There are 2 levels here that we must understand. There are the hard constraints, and then we have the intentionality. Remember, we talked about intentionality. Like, wait a minute, what do you mean intentionality, John? That's a fancy pants word. What's this intentionality thing? Intentionality is the goal or the purpose. We're going to talk about the intention in a minute. When it comes to the hard constraint, if you're working with an article directory such as eZine articles, this will apply. So just take what you learn here about the hard constraint and look at any article directory that you're talking about, and you will see how the hard constraint applies. I will explain what hard constraint means in just a moment. And then second, that's the first layer. The hard constraint is kind of like the fixed cost. You know, fixed cost versus variable cost. You can't get away from the fixed cost. If you're building a new factory, you can't get away from the fixed cost. It's going to cost you a certain amount of money. But the variable cost, that can go up and down. That can go all over the place. But the hard constraint of the fixed cost, we have to adhere to that. We have no choice. The intentionality is up to you. Here's the deal. It's up to you. The intentionality is under your control. The hard constraint is under the control of the article directory. What does this really mean? In the case of e-zine articles, there are editorial guidelines, right? And I use some, I use some color there for you to attract the eye, right? It must be your article must be a minimum of 400 words. So that's a hard constraint. That means it can't be 375 words. It used to be, it was, in the past, you were able to submit articles that were 250 words long. Now the articles have to be 400 or more words. Okay, so you have to write articles that are that long, or you have to have someone write them for you that are that long. And no more than 5,000, okay? No more than 5,000. Who cares about that, really, in most cases? And then, and this comes straight from e-zine articles. And then for us, an ideal article size is 400 to 750. So isn't that interesting that they give you guidelines? Now, who knows why they picked 400 to 750, not 400 to 1,000, or why they have no more than 5,000 words? We can only guess at most of this stuff. All that really matters, okay? All that really matters is we have a hard constraint of 500 words. So that's the hard constraint. How about the soft constraint? This is the intentionality. You really want to take notes on this because this will have a dramatic effect on the type, style, quality, utilization, and so forth of your articles. Here's the deal, right? Here's the deal. You really, really must know what the purpose of your article is. You must know what your intention is for that article. There are at least 3 different ways of article marketing, 3 different purposes, 3 different styles of article marketing. You can write articles for the sake of becoming a guru in your space, in your niche, in your market, becoming the guru or authority. The other thing that you can do is create great content that gets syndicated. One of the things that people can do is other people who have blogs or websites can use your content. They can come and grab your content and put it on their website. And you might say, hey, wait a minute, hold on. How can someone use my content? Well, when you submit your article to an article directory, you're giving that article directory and other people the permission to syndicate your content. You want syndication in almost all cases because you get direct traffic and you get backlinks from a disparate number of websites, blogs, and so forth. So syndication is a good thing. Your links are getting out there. More people are being exposed to you and your big brain and your skills and so forth. What you have to say gets out there. Gets out there. It goes beyond the article directory. So that's one purpose. Another purpose is really for SEO and more specifically backlinks. Okay, so you can just be doing this for the sake of backlinks. That's fine. That means that there's a certain thing that you're going to do regarding your article length. And I'll get to the article length, the literal numbers in just a moment. And then the other thing that's kind of cool is you might just be looking for direct hot traffic. So that's that warmed up traffic that we can get. Maybe that's what you want, is you want the direct and immediate traffic and then that trickle of traffic over time. You don't really care maybe about the guru and authority positioning and the syndication. Maybe you don't care about backlinks, although backlinks, guess what backlinks are synonymous with? Backlinks, for all intents and purposes, that's synonymous with off-page SEO. So if you know anything about SEO, search engine optimization, and you've heard of this off-page SEO thing, backlinks are the lifeblood of off-page SEO. So you can use your articles to set up links that are pointing back to your website with the appropriate anchor text, and that improves your search engine positioning for your money websites or your blogs or whatever it is you're trying to get positioned. So you can see that, you might not care about direct traffic, but what you care about is improving the traffic flowing from Google to your websites, but not from Google to your article to your website, because you're using the articles for the sake of creating backlinks. Does everyone see the power in breaking apart the intentionality of your article? And by the way, anchor text is, there's a question from Sally. Thank you, Sally. Anchor text is text that let's say your keyword is inflatable hot tub, and you use that in your bio box. If that is a hyperlink pointing back to your website, inflatable hot tub is a link that points back to your site about inflatable hot tubs, that's a really good thing. That anchor text is the link, inflatable hot tub, that points back. So that is what anchor text is. Okay? So does everyone see the power? To ask that question just one more time, does everyone see the power in breaking up the different intentionality, the different intentions of their articles? Okay, like what kind of article are you creating? This is extremely powerful for the following reason. The type of article marketing you're doing dictates the type of system that you're going to develop for the process of writing and posting articles, and that intentionality, of course, feeds into how you're going to move forward. Well, here are some word length guidelines to know what the perfect length is based on the hard constraint. We know that the article length cannot be less than 400. So it doesn't matter if you're trying to be a guru, you want the backlinks, or you want direct traffic. You can't go below less than 400 because of the hard constraint. From a soft constraint point of view, or from the intentionality point of view, the guru or authority that you get and the syndication that you can basically exploit from your article marketing means that you probably want longer articles. I mean, think about this, right? Length implies strength, right? Length implies strength. When it comes to your articles and other parts of your life, the more of something that you have, it tends to imply greater strength, right? If you have 100 books that you've published, if you have 5 books that you've published, 100 sounds a whole hell of a lot bigger than 5. 100 bigger than 5. Well, that's what people see in content as well. That's what people see in content. So the longer the article, the better. And I usually actually push the number up to about 700. I usually do 700 to 1200. I went down to 500 because you can still get syndicated with great content with lower amounts of words. Those are a number of words, by the way, just to be really clear. Another reason for using a lot of content, a lot of words in a single article, is that a lot of times people get focused on a topic, and to fully explain the topic the way they want, they need to write more content. And this means that you can more easily group together content and turn it into a report. Or if you have a lot of these articles, you can actually take all your articles, combine all of them together, and actually get a book published. I have a couple of students who have done exactly that. They've taken all of their articles that they've submitted, because you own them, you have the copyright. You take all your articles, which are yours, combine them all together. Now they're all in one niche, right? So if you're working in one niche, you combine all that content together, and you publish a damn book. I mean, what's better than that? Taking the content and reusing it and getting that leverage by publishing it again. Now, from an SEO backlinks perspective, you want to hit the bare minimum. You don't need a lot of content. All you really care about is having a great title, using keywords effectively in the first 50 words, the last 50 words of your article, and maybe one other time possibly in those 400 plus words. You don't need to even shoot for 500 words because you really only care about the backlinks. And when it comes to direct hot traffic, that warmed up traffic, building the rapport with people, 500 to 700 is what I've seen based on all my data as being most effective. Does everyone see the effectiveness of understanding the hard constraint and the intentionality and how that translates to these very powerful and data-driven and intention-driven guidelines? Does everyone see that? Does everyone see how all the chips fall in exactly the right order now? And why article marketing done the right way, using what I just trained you up on, is so powerful, and how it all lines up and how it all makes, that's like common sense. Once you hear this, you're like, oh, John, that's just common sense. But these are things that no one ever comes out with or talks about. They don't talk about it. So this is really fresh and new to almost every person I talk to. Like, I just didn't realize that I was writing articles too short or too long, and I didn't understand what my intention of that article was. Well, now you know. Very powerful stuff. So your investment, your effort, your time allocated to writing and word length is determined by your goal, your intentionality. Super powerful and actionable tips. Those are very real and common sense guidelines based on what you want to get out of article marketing. Now, who wants my article title creation template, my very, very best article titles? Who wants the template for this?
It's scrolling.
Title creation template.
You guys can't see that. It says me. Yes, please. I want it now. I want it now. Woohoo! Boy, we have a lot of people on the call here tonight.
This is important. Yeah, there's a lot of folks, and so you can imagine the screen just kind of going, yes, me, yeah. And so here's the thing, and the interaction here is important. Your questions are important, and saying, yes, John, that's important to me to get the feedback, right? But it's also so that you become more involved, and you're more likely to take action on these tips by getting yourself involved this way. So who else wants my article title creation template? Well, here we go. Well, you want to hook their eyes. All the article marketing that you're doing, doesn't matter if you're talking about the title, doesn't matter if you're talking about the body or the bio box, you really want to be thinking about copywriting. So everything that you know about copywriting transfers over to your article writing. And this is something that, ironically, most people don't do, and it's one of the single best things that you can do in terms of researching what you ought to be doing in terms of words and phrases and what people want, and being persuasive and getting people to read your content and being engaging and exciting and entertaining. Copywriting is really, really, really important. Okay, we're gonna get to the template, so bear with me for just a moment, right? You want to hook their eyes. So remember that copywriting is very important. Your article title, I'm going to read this word for word. Your article title is exactly like your sales letter headlines or your email subject lines, okay? Your article title is exactly like your sales letter headlines. It's that important because it's not only what shows up on Google, it's what shows up in the article directories, it's also what people read before they read anything else. The other thing is you want to write for people first and machines second. So when it comes to your article title, although the rest of your article as well matters, when it comes to your article title, write the article title so that you're satisfying human needs and desires first and machine second. Now, you won't quite believe me when you first see the template, but I will make sense of it, okay? And the secret here, and again, I have sort of a crazy, weird background in psychology, and just take my word for this. If you don't want to take my word for it, just appeal to your own common sense or ask someone else. If you think that I'm wrong for whatever reason, just ask someone else and see what they had to say. Humans get keywords like ceiling fan repair. Humans get that. Like they see that phrase, those three words, and they get it. It's not like that's, ambiguous or difficult. Here's the interesting thing. Search engines operate very effectively with keywords, and people talk about niches and keywords all the time. Do you know why search engines, this is really funny, right? Do you know why search engines care so much about keywords? Not a trick question. Do you know why Google cares so much about keywords? It's a real question. Type in your answer. And I'll wait a moment. And here it is again. Do you know why Google cares so much about keywords? Jeff's got it. Ding, ding, ding. Antonio, you've got it. Okay, Jeff, another Jeff, you've got it. Aaron, not quite, but close. Ted, you've got it. Okay, Cindy, you're on the right track. Barbara, kind of getting there. Dion, kind of, right? Okay. I'm seeing Z, you've got it. Rhonda, you've got it. Okay? The reason that search engines operate with keywords is because that's what people are using. If humans actually typed in full sentences into search boxes, then guess what Google would be all about and how Google would be optimized and how it would revolutionize search engine optimization. You see, what's going on is that search engines operate based on what people want. It's not the other way around. Humans first, machines second. And here's the thing. Keywords evolved because humans tend to be lazy. We don't want to type in the whole damn thing. I need to learn how to do ceiling fan repair. No one wants to do that. No one wants to type in because we're lazy. We want answers now. And if we could just type in the letter X or even just kind of think of what we want and get answers, that's what we would do. That's exactly what we would do. But instead, we type in the minimum amount of information for the maximum reward. It's like playing the lottery. What's the minimum amount of content I can put into the search engine to get the very best result? We play this game every single day ourselves, and this is why Google operates this way. This is exactly why Google operates this way. By the way, I just gave you a very nice 5-minute mini lesson on SEO. I just dipped your toe in the water of true search engine optimization. But of course, this has very much to do with your headline. Very much to do, of course, with your title. So here it is. Hook Your Eyes, Part 2. Part 2, the revenge. Just what you were waiting for, right? So what you do, the optimum, the very best that I have found always operates this way. It's the keyword phrase combined with the human-friendly stuff. Why does the keyword phrase come first? Well, we know that search engines like it. We know that search engines can use and can operate on this principle of keywords, like monkeys or like machines. How about robotic monkeys? Ooh, right? We know that Google can do that. The other thing that we know now, and again, you don't have to believe me, appeal to your own common sense or ask a friend, phone a friend and say, hey, do you understand ceiling fan repair? Do you understand those 3 words? Dude, yeah. Or how about inflatable hot tub? How about inflatable? Dude, I have a question for you. Do you understand those 3 words, inflatable hot tub? Dude, yeah, I get it. So humans get this keyword thing. And machines get the keyword thing, so why not put the keyword right up front? So ceiling fan repair dash, how to quickly replace broken pole chains, okay? How to quickly replace broken pole chains. If you are doing ceiling fan repair, then you probably understand that most ceiling fans, not all, as you can see in the picture there, I put it there for the irony, of course, most ceiling fans come with pole chains. Most ceiling fans come with pole chains. In terms of semantic associations, in other words, word associations, does a ceiling fan go with pole chain? Absolutely. They are semantically related. Google looks for semantic relationships. Humans do it naturally. Google seeks it out algorithmically. Ceiling fan repair, pole chains, particularly broken pole chains. They go hand in hand. So humans and search engines love this template. Again, keyword phrase plus the human-friendly stuff. And there's an example for you. Ceiling fan repair dash how to quickly replace broken pole chains. That's worth $1 bazillion trillion. Who wants my reader grease secrets? Who wants the? So you've seen secrets now. It's like this is, people laugh like, oh, secrets, ha ha ha. I mean, this is stuff truly that other people are not teaching you, and you can't get anywhere else. It's just not possible. Other people don't have this perspective. They don't have the experience. They don't have the proof. So the deal is do you want the secret? The secret is reader grease. Okay, and Dion says, give me the greasy secrets. Antonio says, show me the grease. Absolutely. Ooh, me, I do. Again, we're seeing the scrolling effect. And Dustin,
lube us up.
In a very platonic sense, says, lube us up.
Strictly platonic,
grease
of
is the word. Exactly. Right. So we're all friends here. Right. So who else wants my reader grease secrets? Well, here's the deal. We're talking about human psychology. We're talking about sensation and perception. And it's a biological fact that humans don't actually read. So you can finally say, hey, no wonder. Well, the reality is that from a biological perspective, humans scan. And there's a word for this, the scanning. It's called saccades. And it's S-A-C-C-A-D-E-S. If you really care to look that up, it's saccades. And the saccade is the jumping that your eye does from word to word or from phrase to phrase. The better the reader you are, the bigger jump that your eye is able to make. Okay? Saccade. It's a psychological term. Actually, it's a biophysical term, but let's not go there. But anyhow, what happens, and this is kind of cool, one quick sidebar for those folks who like the trivia stuff, is when your eye focuses on content, it can consume quite a bit. It can consume more than one word at a time. So what happens is you see 2, 3, 4, 5 words at once when your eye lands, and then when your eye makes the jump to the next word or the next phrase, your brain actually shuts off for about 50 milliseconds. Your eye goes blind for about 50 milliseconds or 50 thousandths of a second, and then your brain turns back on, and your occipital lobe, right, the part of your brain that's all about vision, puts it all together and makes it seem all smooth and fluid and seamless. It looks as though you're flowing right across the page. Now what happens is now that I tell you this, you'll read something and go, oh damn, you'll feel your eye actually jump across the page if you read a book now. And it's kind of an eerie effect if you didn't know that you actually jumped across the page. Now, this does matter for article marketing very, very much, because we need to know about reader grease and what we can do to basically lube people up and slide them down the page. Move them across the page and move them down as fast as possible in most cases, because we're trying to get them to the bio box in most cases. Okay? Here's the deal, right? Reader grease, fast tips for you. Use bullets, okay? Use bullets, right? And when it comes to my articles, in most cases, I just use an asterisk, right? People say, hey, John, I can't design my articles, because I talk about article design, right? Even when you're, shackled to the design constraints of an article directory, the beauty is you can still work your way around that by using asterisks to create bullets. I do this all the time. It's a wonderful thing. I use asterisks for bullets in my email marketing as well. Okay? So I use bullets and they work great. People love bullets. Use numbered lists as well. People love lists. David Letterman, top 10. People love lists. Step 1, step 2, step 3. People love that. Use blocks of content with subheaders. Don't just have paragraph, 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 paragraph. Use subheaders. Because why? Because people jump down the screen. They scan the page and go, okay, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. If they really want to read the content and they have a real problem and they want to dig into it, they'll read everything, or you'll suck them in with your bio box. Okay? So that's the deal with blocks of content and subheaders. You also want to use a mix of short and long paragraphs. Again, it breaks up the flow. It makes it easier to skip over a sea of text. People will jump from short sentence or short text to short text. It'll move them right down the page very rapidly. These are copywriting tips, by the way, as well. Hint, hint, these are copywriting tips as well. Bonus number 1 and bonus number 2. Bonus number 1 is use the keyword in the first 50 words of your article. Use a keyword in the last 50 words as well. And this, for the most part, takes care of all the SEO you needed to do in addition to what goes into the title. So you need the title that has the keyword in it. You need to have your first 50 words, the last 50 words, and this really does magic, okay? From a SEO perspective, this is a great thing. The hint about the copywriting was, look, if you learn more about copywriting, you'll learn more about article marketing. So some of the best material you can get is on copywriting. So wherever you learn, or wherever you have learned in the past about copywriting, it will apply. If you're smart about it, it's going to apply to your article marketing. Here are some examples. Update often, comment, right? So you're going to see those big arrows there, and this is not perfect by any means, but you can see how I've broken up the page a little bit. I actually have a number 1, update often. Number 2, comment. Normally I break things up a little bit more than that, but you can see that I'm moving the person down the page pretty rapidly. Like, okay, update often. Number 2, okay, comment. So depending on what the title was, it might be like the magic tips for how to very rapidly, get someone to read your content. Well, on a blog. Okay, update often and comment. Whatever it might be. So people will scan right through those subheaders. Another thing that's really cool is literally you can write, right, rather than using the number 1 or the number 2 or the number 3, you can actually say step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 2, market it. Step 3, get a little more help from your friends, and so forth. All right. Matt's going to ask about the keywords. I think it's a good and appropriate question. Okay. The question is, how many times do you want to use the keyword in the first and last 50 words? Use it once, Mattson. Use the keyword just once in the first 50 words and use it just once in the last 50 words. Otherwise, you usually end up stuffing keywords into your article. You really don't need all that many keywords repeated. You don't need your keyword repeated all that many times. It usually happens naturally as well. You'll end up basically automatically using that keyword more than once as you're writing your article anyway. It's pretty hard not to use it. And also this gets you thinking about synonyms you ought to be using and other semantically related information. You can see right here, here's an example. It's going to pop up, right? 6 blog marketing basics, right? Here is something that I mentioned very early on when we were going through the background, setting all this up. What I want you to think about for a minute is alignment. I use the word alignment very specifically because we want to align the person to our content. We want to make a promise and deliver on the promise. The promise of the search, to them clicking, to them seeing the headline, to them reading the first paragraph. Okay? So the alignment is really telling the truth and keeping your word. 6 blog marketing basics. What's the very first thing that I provide in this article? Blog marketing can be overwhelming. I'm telling you, you're in the right place. The other thing is you can see number 1 there. Number 1, regular updates. So one of the 6 blog marketing basics you can see there is number 1, regular updates. Okay. Now there's a question that came in from Sai here. Do you suggest avoiding keyword density above 2%, or does it really matter or not matter? No, I'm just saying that you absolutely must, from an SEO perspective and with article marketing for SEO purposes, you really want to have that keyword in the first 50 words, and you really want to have it in the last 50 words as well. By the way, a sidebar for you, this lines up with the psychological principle of primacy, write that down, and the psychological principle of recency. Primacy, that's what comes first. Recency is what you were exposed to most recently. If I give you a list of 10 numbers, 57983223298, what's the first number? What is the first number I listed? 5. What's the last number I listed? I listed 5, 8. Everyone, okay, look, and again, the answers are pouring in. Everyone remembers 5 and everyone remembers 8. They remember 5, they remember 8. Okay, they remember 5. You remember the number 5 because that's primacy. It's the very first one I said, pay attention, listen to these numbers. And the first one I gave was 5. It's very easy to remember the very first thing you heard. It kind of bakes in. That's the primacy effect. The recency effect is the one that was the most recent. The one that's the most recent is 8. Everything in between, it's a blur. It could have been 7 and 5, and who knows what was in the middle. But you know 5 and 8 because of primacy and recency. You get the same exact effect with your articles. You get the exact same effect with articles. You want to capitalize on primacy and recency, and that's why the first 50 and the last 50. There's much more to that. I can't go into all of it now. Like I said, that was a sidebar. Do you want my number 1 author bio box secret? Do you want my number 1 author bio box secret? So you thought I was going to deliver. Is this over-delivery? Is this delivery or over-delivery? No, I mean, seriously.
So 2 questions here.
Delivery. Yeah, is this delivery or is it over-delivery? right? So the screen is streaming on by, right? So do you want my number one secret? You betcha. Absolutely. Here we
Half the
go.
people are
Okay.
saying yes, and the other people are saying over delivery, John.
Now here's the deal, right? Now here's the deal. This is controversial because usually it rubs people the wrong way, and I understand that. This rubs people the wrong way, and I understand that you might not like this. So I've tried to tone it down as much as I could so you feel very comfortable about this and you don't take it the wrong way. So here's the thing, right? And I mentioned this before, but now it should make more sense, and I'm going to give you an example of exactly how to do this the right way. So not only am I going to give you the number one secret, I'm actually going to give you a template that is proven to work like gangbusters. Now, the number one secret is getting your ego out of the way. What does that really mean, getting your ego out of the way? What do you think it means? It's a real question. Okay, when I say get your ego out of the way, what does that mean to you? And really, kind of think about that for a second. What does getting your ego out of the way mean? I love the answers that are coming in. You almost can't be wrong. Well, except for Brad. But I'm giving Brad a hard time because Brad gave me a hard time earlier. Just kidding, Brad. Just having a good time here. So really, look, this isn't about you. What's in it for them, not what's in it for you. So the deal is that, as Sally says, you don't want to brag. As Jeff says, this is not about me. It's about the reader. As Jeff says, don't talk about yourself in the bio box, right? Another thing that Antonio says here, I like this, is not acting like you're better than other people, right? And as Mattson says, don't put your bio in the box. Love it. So the bio box isn't about your bio. It's a misnomer. The last thing you want to do is talk about yourself. No one, okay, look, you are building authority. You are building know, like, and trust. But despite that, no one gives a damn about you. And this is where it's controversial because they don't know you yet. They're just getting warmed up. They're not warmed up. They're not like 100% like, hey, I know this guy. They're getting warmed up. It's a path that they're on. It's a path that they're on. And as Brad says, this is extremely difficult to do because guess what you want to do? You want to talk about yourself because you know yourself. You know who you are. You've got an ego. You've got a chip on your shoulder. You have knowledge. You want to share with the world. You want to change the world. This is about you and your business, damn it, right? Sorry, but when it comes to the number one bio box secret, if you want the clicks and you want to build your business and make money and make your customers happy, get your ego out of the way. And it's extremely difficult to do. It is very, very difficult to do. This is not about you. It's about them. It's about solving their problems. If you want to deliver value to people, give them value. Don't give them a piece of yourself. Don't give them a nice little love story. Don't tell them about your degrees. Don't do that in your bio box. There are times and places for it. For example, I did it earlier so you knew what I was talking about would make sense later on. So I would be able to bestow upon the presentation some authority, right? That's why I built that in to the beginning. But that doesn't work. And I did that on purpose, by the way. I actually built in some of that initial authoritative information to juxtapose, right? To actually say, look, that's what you don't want to do in your bio box. I provided some ego maniac kind of information so that you know what not to do in your bio box when it comes to article marketing. You're looking for a click. You're looking for them to get to know more about you through what you deliver, not what you say about yourself, right? It's Missouri, the show me state. Give it to them, okay? Very powerful tip there. It's the number one secret. So now a big question, okay? The big question is related to an offer. We talked very early on when Jay and I were first talking. I kind of slipped in a couple of times. You might have not quite caught it, but there is an offer, and we are at that point where I have to ask that question. Do you want to learn more? If you loved what you learned tonight, you're going to love what I have for you as well. So do you want to learn more? Now here's the thing, right? So the release is of Juggernaut article marketing, All right, so the Juggernaut brand is near and dear to my heart. I have multiple Juggernaut products. One of my favorite products out of all my Juggernaut products is Juggernaut Article Marketing, which is, guess what it's about? Guess what it's about? It's about article marketing. But what is it specifically? What do you need to know? Okay, it's a 4-week training course where this is me. I am personally walking you through. I'm bringing you through every step of creating these traffic crushing articles using my simple but proven systems. Obviously, I give you plenty of tips and tricks and so on, things you can go off and use right now. Absolutely true. But there are certainly systems that you can use for yourself in your own business, and also if you want to outsource. Now, this is going to work for you, and you can already see how this is going to work for you. Even if you're not a good writer, you can't spell the word cat, you don't like to type, and you've never done article marketing at all. You really can start from ground zero. Now, the beauty of the course is that it's very deliberately designed for anyone at any level. You can skip through some parts if you want to or need to, or you can start right at the beginning and work your way through. You can bounce around. It's really modularized, but it's also set up to be built upon itself. So if you're really super advanced, you can go right in, dig into a mind map, for example, and pull out exactly what you need, or watch a particular video training and pull out just what you need at the right time. Big promises to you, very important to me, right? So when you sign up for Juggernaut Article Marketing, you'll have all the following in 14 days or less. Big promise, and I feel very, very confident about this, and I'll explain why in just a moment. You'll have in 14 days 10 articles pulling hot and fresh traffic like we talked about. Talking about these, the massive flood of traffic. It starts with these articles that you're creating. You're going to have these 10 articles pulling that traffic. The other thing that's very important to people, whether they're just starting and they're planning ahead, or they're in the middle of it, or they're really advanced, is how do you outsource all this stuff? How do you outsource all the little pieces? How do you take the systems in your business? How do you take the systems that I make available and make it cheap, fast, and easy? It's in there. You'll be able to outsource 95 to 100% of everything related to your article marketing. I literally do not do any research at this point in time anymore, unless I feel like it, and I don't in most cases, and I don't have time. I don't do the article research. I don't do the content research. I don't do the keyword research. I don't write the articles. I don't submit the articles. I don't monitor and maintain the articles either. It's all outsourced, all of it. You can do the same. And again, you'll be able to do that in 14 days or less. And then the other thing that's really important, I never leave this out of training, and it's the mindset and the confidence. In other words, the total confidence in your article writing. Okay? Very, very important that you have confidence, because if you don't have confidence, you're not going to do the most important thing, which is to take action, whether it's your own action or having someone else do the work for you. Now, this is not a theory kind of system. This is not butterflies and rainbows floating in the air and leprechauns and stuff. It's not theory, right? It's this. It's only good in my mind, and I'm only happy when you're pumping out this free traffic, cheap and easy. Now, how can I promise this kind of success? Because that's pretty radical. Those promises are pretty crazy. Well, I've got over 250 students who have actually made the investment and gone through the training. And every single one of these people that went through and followed the step-by-step training, used my dumb little templates and set up their articles using the proven systems, got their articles published, and generated loads of free traffic. Every single one of them that went through the training and actually did even the most minimal amount of work got free traffic. So I can guarantee that. Another thing that's very powerful here, and I'm very keenly aware of the pocketbook and the wallet and making the investment of my own and other people. If I make the investment, if you make the investment, and whatever it is, we want to know how quickly we're going to break even and then move well into the black with our traffic and our money. Well, students can recover tuition in as little as 1 to 2 weeks. Now, that does depend on niches and markets and click value and so on, but really within just a couple of weeks, and that's because of the value of the traffic. You understand? So in very little time, the beauty of this is you can recover the investment. And also, the other thing about The Juggernaut way of doing article marketing is that articles push traffic forever. And once the articles are set up according to the Juggernaut article marketing system, right, the Juggernaut article marketing system, then you get that traffic forever. It never goes away. It's evergreen traffic, which is a very, very nice, it's a beautiful thing, in fact. So here's a student from Blaine Fallis says, John's course is overflowing with real day-to-day common sense practices, right? Common sense once you know it, of course, that have you and your team cranking out choice, targeted, evergreen content right away. So it's not like you have to wait 14 days to see results. You get the real day-to-day material immediately. You crank out that content in very little time, or your team does, and within almost no time, traffic is flowing. Or Rich Hill, right? Holy cow, of all the courses, ebooks, offers, WSOs, and junk out there that I've spent real money on, this was the best to date. Another thing that Rich did, and this is totally awesome, and this is very real. I'm not just talking about theory or making anything up here. This is a real, Rich says, look, I compiled my articles that I created, I compiled my articles into my first real book that I'm publishing. So you can see the real value direct. You can see where the money comes from. So traffic translating into money here as well. Then just take action, people. This stuff works. And I could go on and on. I have many different testimonials like this. Very important that you know that I stand behind what Juggernaut Article Marketing stands for completely. So the core training, in-depth training workshop, recordings, right, walking you all through my article marketing processes, the system, the tools, techniques, free traffic, making money, and my super duper crazy over the top detailed and comprehensive mind maps, my legendary mind maps. They're huge. They're just crazy, but you can go right into them and pick out what makes sense to you. You can just kind of target and say, oh, that's what I need. Zoom in, get what you need. So these are the exact content blueprints and clarifying concepts that you need to succeed with your articles and your content. Module 1, Article Marketing Success System, an overview. The article framework, right, how to actually set up your articles. Truth and lies about article marketing. Module 2, Article Marketing, the reader flow systems above and beyond the reader grease that we talked about tonight. We talked about syndication a little bit, how to get your articles syndicated, where and how. I go into that in great depth. The risks and warnings, again, above and beyond what we talked about tonight. And then, of course, the outsourcing blizzard, how to outsource like crazy. Niche research and really cutting through the fog, the market cutter, really digging in. The complete BioBox domination system, right? There's more to the story than just my #1 tip. The crackerjack speed writing system, like how do you crank out content extremely fast? And if you can do it faster, you're saving money, that means you're making money. Module 4, traffic piggybacking and ideas at the same time. That's really cool stuff. Social media and having articles actually go viral and using viral traffic to push traffic into articles. So it goes both ways. The print-on-demand book monetization system. And even one here that's kind of crazy, the happy plagiarism skull crusher. How to actually, now this is what's crazy about this. You can actually capitalize on the fact that people plagiarize. You can actually make money and generate all kinds of traffic from plagiarism. And I have a very, very cool system for you to capitalize on that, right? So as we take a look at the total value here, most students, really many students, say that Juggernaut Article Marketing is worth at least $2,000 in free traffic, and that continues to grow over time, plus the factory installed business training. So we might say, hey, $500, you could waste those 30 to 40 hours figuring this out yourself. But really, what's your time worth, and how about all the frustration? You know, you could also hire someone else and get the wrong systems, the wrong tools, and burn up more time and more cash. So I'll make this no-brainer for you, right? This is available as an instant download, all 4 video recordings, all the workshop audio recordings, all those monster mind maps that I talked about. So it's a real-world value of $1,000. It was actually going to be a $500 course. But as a friend of Jay's, I'm going to give you Juggernaut Article Marketing for $97. Okay? $97, make the investment today. You can see the URL there, and I will drop it in for you if you want to go over and take a look at the sales page. There's not a whole lot on the sales page, by the way. We covered pretty much everything that's inside Juggernaut Article Marketing. I'd be more than happy to talk about what's inside. Another quick thing that's important is I know a lot of people are like, well, what about the guarantee? You bet. The mega over delivery, or the mega over deliver, or you don't pay guarantee, very straightforward here. 30 days to download. You can download everything, kick the tires, and then email me at any time for a prompt and courteous refund. Okay, now you have 3 choices at this point, and this is it. You really don't have many more choices. If you do, they're kind of versions of these 3. You can do nothing, and when you're trying to generate more traffic and make more money in your business, you're going to say, how do I get more traffic? And you're going to be thinking about this webinar and the opportunity to get a lot more free traffic automatically. And that means goodbye free traffic, because you're passing up the offer, right? But you're going to sort of regret and be frustrated because you're not doing anything. You're not going out there and doing what you need to do with the articles to get traffic. You could try to do it yourself. That's option 2, right? You could try to do it yourself, meaning you can go out there and spend those 30 or 40 hours, test, tweak and tune. You could hire someone else, try to get the latest and greatest WSO that's $15, $20, $5, hack through things, get a loophole, maybe make it work for a day or 2, and then stumble and fall. Or you can get Juggernaut Article Marketing. So again, as a friend of Jay's, you get everything inside Juggernaut Article Marketing for $97. You can see the URL inside there, and I am ready for questions, both about the presentation material earlier, and certainly I'm open for any sort of questions anyone has at all about the Juggernaut Article Marketing course. So fire away. I'm ready.
Yeah, we definitely have a ton of questions here, John. I've been watching them scroll in here, this whole time, kind of on the sidelines, writing them down as I could, because there's pages and pages. If I were scrolling back up to find them, I wrote some choice ones down. But first, I want to emphasize the value that we're talking about here, $97. As I mentioned at the beginning of this training, when I started article marketing, and boy, I wish that I had this training under my belt when I started, because I started writing articles myself, right? I wrote dozens myself, and then I got to the point where, this is not the best way to make a business out of this. I was promoting mostly affiliate websites and writing these articles myself, and then I said, I'm going to start outsourcing. I could barely afford it, but I started outsourcing these articles. And I spent literally over $1,000 outsourcing these articles, and then I found out too late that I was doing it all wrong. And how did I find out that I was doing it all wrong? Well, I got inside Juggernaut Article Marketing, and I found out very quickly that was the case, and I squandered thousands of dollars. So we're talking about value, $97. What is that really worth? Well, I'll tell you, it would have been worth tons to me if I had had this information when I was first starting out, and that's just the truth. Hey, John, I have a question. You were talking about over-delivering before, and certainly, we've been talking for almost 2 hours now, solid content, stuff that I have never even heard before, and I've been through your course several times, and this is always fresh new stuff, hearing training from you. What about the people? I saw a couple questions, John. What can I expect inside that you haven't already covered tonight? Because it was an enormous amount of content and information. For the people that are maybe not brand new to article marketing, what can they find inside Juggy Article Marketing that you haven't already spilled the beans about tonight?
Yeah, one example, and there are many. I'll give as many as as we like. But one thing that always comes up is content creation. It comes up again and again and again. And how do you rapidly create content? Because look, if you're in the business of generating traffic using articles, then what does that mean? You need to be writing, and the faster you write, the more money you make. It's a direct translation. So I have an entire system. Actually, it's 3 different systems combined that you can use any one of the 3. Use them. You can combine them together, and you can write extremely fast. So that is one example. I'll actually give another example as well. I'll give you all the templates for that and how to work through that system. The other thing that I cover is research, the niche research, and how to really cut through that, cut through the fog, cut through the clutter, and get right to the heart of the matter. There's actually, I should put it this way, there's SEO, search engine optimization, information that I mean, you caught me a couple of times, and I spilled the beans a couple of times on just a couple little tiny things related to search engine optimization. So I spend an awful lot of time talking about niche research, how finding the right keywords can have a profound effect on how easily you can write, how quickly you can write, how much people love your content, what that content, how it will rank and how it will do with the search engines and so on. So every single module is its own set of material, its own module. Every sub-module, I should really say, is almost its own module. There's actually 16 hours of content, 16 hours of content if you wanted to work through all of it. Now, so what is that? We went through 1/8 of that amount of time, so there's an enormous amount of material. But at the same time, the beauty is you can very rapidly whip through the mind maps and find exactly what you want. You can sort of zoom in and say, that's what I needed. I needed a system for outsourcing the writing of my articles, and these are the steps that you take. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. It's baked in to the mind maps that are available. Or if you'd like to listen to the material, that is certainly reasonable as well. You can actually kind of put it on, listen to it in the background, or watch as I work through the mind maps or the presentation material that's available. So it's a great question, and I understand it. And the beauty of it is it's designed as well not to overload you in any way either. What I mean is you can look at a particular branch or a node. Actually, I'm going to do something. Actually, I had this up earlier. I was talking to a colleague, and I brought this up. So I'm going to show you one of the mind maps for one of the modules. And here's the funny thing about it. So let me know when you see it. Let me know when you see that on the screen. Just kind of throw a yes at me. I want to make sure that you do see that.
I see it.
So it should be popping up any minute.
That's a classic John S. Rhodes mind map there.
So when I say legendary, I really do mean legendary. It's pretty darn ridiculous. And I know that you can't read the material. You can see RSS maybe there, but you know, like, wait a minute. I didn't talk at all about RSS, really simple syndication, and how to use RSS. Okay? We didn't talk at all about really, and that's like one little chunk down here. Pretty crazy. I didn't talk about that at all, right? So there's a whole huge section on really simple syndication. Now here's another one. Okay, so here's another one. Here's another mind map. You should see another mind map. This is module 2. Things got a little bit more crazy, right? So here's another legendary mind map. You can imagine zooming in. So like one node, this one section right here, probably took me an hour to an hour and a half to work my way through the training material just in this one module.
That's like a whole WSO right there, John.
It's literally, and now,
you'll see when you get inside what I mean. When you get inside, it's just off the hook as far as the value that you'll find.
Crazy. The way to think about it, folks, honestly, is that this is not about article marketing as much as it is about your business. This is a true business course because I touch on so many different topics. It just happens to be that the central theme, the central core idea is how do I get tons of free or cheap traffic with articles. So very, very powerful stuff. And yes, I did use MindJet to create the mind maps. So that gives you an idea. And there are 2 more mind maps as well that are as ridiculous and huge. And
they're ridiculous-er.
They're even ridiculous-er than that. So if you're into mind maps, great. If you're not into mind maps or haven't experienced mind maps before, it doesn't really matter because you can get the mind map and zoom right into the section that matters for you.
Hey, I want to mention one more thing, and then we're going to jump in these questions because we've got a ton, John.
Definitely.
We were talking about the ability to write these articles quickly, and I wanted to mention the fact I get lots of I have lots of friends and subscribers who ask me the best way to start making money quickly online, maybe from sort of ground level, right, with no experience. And I tell people, offer a valuable service. And there's, one of the most valuable services that you're going to find is the ability to write articles for other people. And once you get good at this, and once you get fast at this, you can make 20, 30, 40, maybe $50 an hour writing articles for other people. That's the ability to write quickly and with quality, and that's exactly what John is showing you how to do inside here. One of the things, I mean, imagine writing, even if you just, okay, say you're just getting started and you're able to write one article an hour, and then you get a little bit deeper, you get a little bit better, you start learning some of this, some of the training that John gives you inside, and it's 2 articles an hour. And then you can say, wow, I'm getting better at this. I can start charging people maybe $5 to start. I'll tell you, when I first got started and I didn't know any better, and I didn't know the contractors that John knows for $3 an article, I was paying $10 an article for 750 word articles. Now imagine if you write 4 or 5 of those an hour, that's $40 an hour. That's primo. And that is available to you as well, and that's something that you can start doing within, like John says, 14 days' time.
Yeah. Here's something that a lot of people don't know. Jason Fladlin started online, really making his money and building his business, and obviously, Jason's a pretty well-known guy. He's in a mastermind of mine. We work a lot together. But Jason really got his start and really got traction by being an article marketer, article writing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great place to start. And actually I talk about that inside Juggernaut Article Marketing, the ability to provide freelance services as well, just as Jay said. I've even done arbitrage. So arbitrage works like this. You can buy articles from other people and then sell them for a higher price. You can flip them, you can turn them into PLR and sell article packs. I cover all of that, many different ways to monetize the articles and the content that you're generating. We also talked very briefly about print on demand and building or creating a book. So you can take all your articles, put them together, and create a book or a free report and build your list. I talk about list building using your articles, those squeeze pages, and people say, well, what do I give people? Give them your articles. In other words, you take your articles, combine them together, give them a label, and then give it, maybe go to Fiverr and grab a cover, and now you've got basically an opt-in magnet. You can do a ton of stuff. You can use it for Kindle. So ID, ask that. Yeah, and there's a million things you can do, and pretty much all of this stuff, if not everything that I just mentioned, is covered inside Juggernaut Article Marketing. So the traffic and the conversions, really the traffic and the monetization, is baked right in for you.
Yeah, there are so many directions that you can go with a humble article, John. It is sort of the smallest sort of building block. If you're talking about information products, when you sort of just sort of dip your toe into it right there, but articles can be combined to create print-on-demand books. That's a whole nother training. John and I can talk from now until tomorrow about how to publish your print-on-demand books. But if you combine 10 or 20 articles together into a print-on-demand book or a Kindle book, that's another revenue stream, right? You can combine them into a PLR pack and sell them on the Warrior Forum, either as a PLR that people are purchasing for lead generation for offline marketing, right? Say you have a dozen articles that are in the can that you've already published to eZine articles, and they're all concerning, say, mobile marketing. You can combine them into a PLR package and sell them on the Warrior Forum as a WSO that offline marketers can purchase from you. And believe me, there's a huge market for this as lead generation tools. They can be autoresponder. You can combine them and sell them as PLR for an autoresponder. There are so many different ways. This is just an amazing springboard into so many different types of products. You can actually turn them into an audio. You can read them or outsource someone to read these articles and record it as an MP3, and it's a podcast. Blast that out. You want to rank 3, 4, 5 times for a local search term? That's how you do it. That was another question. Actually, Dan asked earlier, can this be used for local search, John? What's your take? I have an answer for that. What's your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And here's why. Because no one is really targeting these local businesses in your area with articles. And here's what I would do. I've given this recommendation a few times, and it's changed business models for people who do offline marketing. What I recommend to people is become a renter. And what I mean by that is you use articles to drive traffic to, in turn, build a list. Let me say that again. You focus on a local market, and you write all about that market. San Antonio, San Diego, Albuquerque, New Mexico. You focus on a geographic area, and then you just, pour the coal to it, meaning you really just go crazy writing a ton of different articles for different services available, plumbing and chiropractic and car repair, mechanics. You go crazy with that article writing, and then you drive people to squeeze pages and information pages, and you build niche lists. This puts you in the kingpin position. It puts you in a position to be able to go to these local businesses and say, I don't just have traffic for you. I don't just have a web presence for you. I've got leads for you. You can sell these leads for an enormous amount of money. If you go to a home builder, right, you go to a home remodeler, you're talking about a lead that's worth literally $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in some cases, depending on the site. These guys know their numbers. They know that, if someone gives them a call and they're a warm lead, that 1 out of every 3 they can book an appointment, and they know that 1 out of every 5 that they do proposals for, they're going to land that remodeling. So they know that that lead is worth many thousands of dollars, and the better their conversion rate, the better. But you deliver leads and you sell the leads, and you can crush it as an article marketer who happened to build his or her list, and then you're selling those leads, and you can do a number of other things on top of that as well. So it's absolutely applicable to offline marketing. And like I said, that advice right there has changed at least 2 different people's businesses that I know, how they do offline marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing is, nobody's doing, like you mentioned, John, nobody's doing this. No, there's no online that I know of online marketing consultants for local business owners, right? Offline marketers that are offering this as a service. But I used to do this all the time. I used to sell a package of article marketing, press releases, and video marketing as a continuity product to local business owners that I had when I was actively an offline marketer. It was $200 for 10 articles per month, and I used to get them ranked on page 1 of these local search terms. I remember the first time I did it, I was blown away for this Nashville mold contractor, and I wrote 10 articles for him. It was right after there was a big flood in Nashville. I don't know if you remember this, last spring, and it was a mold contractor in Nashville, and he wanted to rank on page 1, and it was semi-competitive at that point as a result of this flood, and I got like 3 or 4 articles on page 1 for a primo search term that was generating thousands per month right after this flood for Nashville mold contractors or something like that. These articles that ranked on page 1. Nobody's doing that, and that's a continuity package that you can offer your local businesses.
Yeah, there are a couple of more questions that are important to hit, and I'm going to throw a bonus out there because I think it's important. These are recordings that you're able to download, which is great because you get instant access to John's brain. That's awesome. But I also know that people need some hand-holding. They need some support. They need follow-up as well. So here's what I'm going to do. It's a little bit crazy, a little bit weird, and it's only for Jay's folks and folks that know me, because there's some overlap here, of course. But here's the deal. Make the investment today, and I'll provide you with 14 days, starting from today, for the next 2 weeks. I'll provide you with email support, which really means you can ask me one question per day for the next 14 days about your article marketing. I don't know how I can possibly even put a value on this, but I know that there are a number of people who are on the fence that are thinking, okay, this is great, I think it's for me, I'm not sure. Well, you can ask me one question every single day, and let me do this to make it very concrete and very tangible. I'm going to throw in here an email address, and this is what happens. When you submit, I should say it this way, when you write an email and you send it to that email address, what it does is it automatically creates a help desk ticket, and the beauty of that is that it actually has high priority, and I'm notified of it, so within 24 hours you'll get a response to that one question. So that's the cool thing, right? You make the investment, and then for the next 14 days you can ask one question like, hey, what's that great title, or what's your best article? What's your very best article ever? And if it makes sense, I can give you the answer. If it doesn't make sense, I'll say, well, it depends on what niche, and here's an example, here's where you go, and I'll write up a little response for you and send you that response. So that gives you a lifeline. It gives you direct access to me for the next 14 days. Obviously, I have to limit this. And I'll have to cut it off here. I'll have to decide.
Does Megan know about that, John?
Well, Megan does not know about that. But
I wish I had that access to you. I'm going to drop the dime just to get to get that. Holy cow!
And Jay jokes about Megan, but she's basically my executive assistant, and she handles customer support. Megan's awesome. And so yeah, that support is a big deal, and kind of like my mind maps, my support is legendary. Within 24 hours, almost always, more than 95% of the time, you'll get a response, you'll get a follow-up. Might not be exactly what you want at first, but then you will get the response that satisfies the question, and that's a big deal. My time is ridiculously expensive. It's embarrassing almost, but
I'm very surprised that you offered that, John. Sai says email consultation of this type is priceless. Absolutely. There's just no. I mean, who gives you that sort of access? I can't imagine. I wish I had that. John, I love the image of the zombie articles, right? So these are articles that you sort of launch into the ethers, and they are going to be working for you. They're going to be moving their zombie arms and legs and doing the hard work and the heavy lifting for you in terms of backlinks and traffic and SEO into perpetuity, forever and ever and ever, into zombie until in the zombie heaven.
It's a beautiful thing if you think about it, because you pay once, or you make the it's like sweat equity. I'm gonna do some work. Okay, so you do a few minutes of work, you get the article cranked out, and then it just continues on. I can't tell you. It's kind of like fine cheese and fine wine. The longer the article is out there, the better it gets. Mm-hmm. And here, I want you to think about why. Kind of absorb this, because it's actually a search engine optimization tip, a very good one. Google likes old, reliable, high value, massive value content. So older domains are more valuable, and the page rank is higher, and they pass on more page rank juice, and they tend to rank higher because they're older and they stood the test of time. The exact same principle of longevity applies to your articles as well. The longer your article's around, and the better and the stronger it is, the better and the stronger it gets. And this is one of the key reasons why the strong get stronger, and this is why I reinvest in what works. I can go back and look at an article that I did 6 months or 6 years ago. The one that's 6 years old, I'm like, holy, I don't have, I think I might have a few articles that are 6 years old. But these older articles, those are the ones I'm going to say, hey, are these performing well? And the ones that are performing well, I just pour more coal or more, I throw more firewood on the fire, because that's what works. Because I want to keep the zombie as strong as possible, and keep the zombie moving on his merry way, and that's how you do it. And it's very straightforward and easy to do.
Yeah, at the end of the day, and John, I'm sure you will agree with me, these articles are assets, and you can and should be thinking of them as zombie assets, right? These are you want to build a business? This is how you build a business. These these zombie articles are going to be working for you day in and day out until the cows come home. And this is exactly how you build a business, and this is how you learn how to build a business. Is inside Juggy Article Marketing.
Yeah, zombies are cheap too. I mean, it's not like
I love zombies. I can't stop talking about zombies.
you don't really have to, you don't, once they rise, it's there's not a whole lot you have to do. There's not much care and feeding. It's only if you feel like it. They don't need to eat. They just need they just need brains. They needed your brains and they get going, and then that's it. So okay, moving. I'm seeing if there are questions that have come in. Okay.
Matson had a good question. I don't know if he's still on the line. I know he's been here the whole time. Do you ever write articles for the purpose of linking to your winners, or do you always hope that they will all be winners and then change the links on the duds?
I love this question. It's an extremely good question. Okay, and here's why it's so good. Because it's the exact opposite. It's a great assumption. It's a great assumption. It's a smart assumption, and so bravo. But it's the exact opposite of what I do. And what I mean by that is that I expect failure. I've built failure into my business. And when I say I built it in my business, I've built the expectation of failure into my business. And this is exactly why I like article marketing so much, because I know that some articles are going to do very poorly. I can guarantee failure with a good chunk of my articles. Let's say I do 10 articles. 5 of them might be terrible. And it doesn't, and here's the reality. It's the harsh and brutal reality. 5 of the 10 that you do, let's say, right, sometimes it's 3 or 4, sometimes it's 5, 6, 7, but a huge fraction of the articles that you throw out there are not going to stick. They're not going to do well. They're going to be complete duds. But then 1 or 2 of them are going to be base hits or doubles, using a baseball metaphor there, right? They're going to be pretty good. You're going to do okay with them, and they're going to make up, for the most part, the other failures. And then you're going to have 1 or 2 home runs or even grand slams. Those are the money makers. That's actually where you make your money and really drive the most traffic. You have to expect a large number of failures and a small number of successes. The successes do phenomenal. Now there is a curve. It's actually a power curve, and your article will fall on that power curve, meaning it is a winner-take-all situation where most of your articles will be kind of lame or not so good, and then you'll have a smaller fraction that do a very, very nice job. So you can go in and look at your results, your stats, and go, there's the winner. And this is why you make the strong stronger. This is why you continue to invest in different ways, time and effort and money, into the articles that work. Okay? So and I talk a lot about this inside the course too, how to do this the right way, what numbers to be looking at, what metrics really matter, how to gauge your success, how to even sort of make sure your confidence isn't shattered when you see 4 or 5 articles just be real duds, because you don't look at the duds, you look at the successes. Here's another way to think about this. If there's anything that you can do in your education, it's strengthen what you're good at and minimize your weaknesses. And you minimize weaknesses by not really focusing on them. Doesn't mean you completely ignore them, but you don't focus on them. When you focus on what you're great at, you do great things. Exact same principle applies to your article marketing. So it's a great question. I walk through some of those numbers and what they mean, how to stay strong, how to stay confident, and how to maximize the winners and sort of minimize those losers as you move forward with your article marketing.
And you can get better. You can learn how to pick the niches more effectively. You
That's
can
right.
learn how to write a better title for your article, and that's what this training is all about. And you were talking about baseball before. I mean, imagine, yes, it's a numbers game. That's what this is. It's a numbers game. But you said, maybe 3 or 4 out of 10 will be effective and will actually, be valuable in terms of promoting your money site or whatever you're directing to in your box there. But 3 out of 4 base hits out of 10,
Right.
you're in the Hall of Fame. You're batting 3 or 400. I mean, that's amazing. Those numbers
And you're
are
going to
for
hit a
real.
home run too. And you're out of 10 articles, you're almost always going to hit a home run, meaning it will far surpass everything. You'll be like, yeah, I've got one article that I have no idea why this particular article really took off, but it's got 30, and one of my accounts, it's got 35 or 40,000 views. And I mean, it is truly ridiculous, and it's on a topic that that was when I was actually writing them myself. I just kind of whipped it off pretty fast, and it just caught fire. And sometimes it's a roll of the dice. But as Jay said, you can stack the deck in your favor. You can stack the deck in your favor enormously with just a little bit of training. You learned a little bit tonight, but there are systems and processes you can follow that improve. And the other thing too is writing faster and smarter and doing better research. Jay mentioned research, so I talk about research pretty extensively, but also writing faster so you can crank out more content faster, and your at-bats, using that baseball metaphor, you're going to have a higher on-base percentage. You're going to be hitting more base hits, singles, doubles, triples, and home runs. You're just going to get better.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's also why you focus on those winners as well. It just improves. Focus on your home runs, focus on your base hits, your doubles, your singles, your triples. Focus on what you did right and improve those. No one practices in baseball, using that analogy again, no one practices their strikeouts. So you don't go to your articles and look for what doesn't work. You look for the winners. You look for how you got on base and those articles that actually worked, and continue on from there.
And optimize the heck out of those.
You optimize the bejesus out of them.
Pardon our French. Hey, so Aaron wanted to know, as a follow-up, John, do you still do this? Do you still write articles to make money? Have you advanced beyond this point, or perhaps now hire others to do it for you?
I hire other people. The only thing that I still do occasionally is I'll do some keyword research when I'm getting going in a new niche. So I launch new websites from time to time, or I'm launching something with a partner, and I'm trying to test the waters. So I'll go into various niche / keyword research tools, and I'll look for keywords, and then I'll pass those keywords onto my team of writers and say, okay, go do this, go do that. But I use the system for doing that. And I talk about that. I talk about the research and how I do some of that research. I talk about how you hand the research off to other people, how the writing gets done, how the articles get submitted, where to go to get those people too, where to go to get those writers, what you should expect in terms of paying out to people, and what time frame, how fast, what kind of turnaround can you expect. Again, that's all under outsourcing, all under the outsourcing training material. So yeah, definitely. And again, here's the other thing that's really cool about this. Not only do you get the zombie articles, the zombie army working for you, but the skills that you learn in here, because it's a business training course, right? It's actually like a coaching course. You actually can transfer the skills that you get about writing faster, some of the copywriting knowledge that you get along the way, how to properly format content. These things apply to blogging as well. They apply to setting up sales pages as well. They apply to what you're doing with your email marketing. And it goes on and on. The skills and the knowledge absolutely transfer. And again, it's been designed that way so that you can carry this knowledge with you basically forever.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Leslie had a follow-up question as to exactly what you're talking about. This course also covers copywriting, and I just want to say that from my experience, and it was sort of to my dismay when I first discovered this, but in my experience, the ability to write effectively is going to be your number one skill and the number one sort of indicator of your success online, and certainly as you progress and advance in your internet marketing career. Now, that kind of made me sad when I discovered that, because I don't think of myself as a writer. It's kind of painful for me to write, but I've gotten much better at it. This is a skill that you can learn just like everything else, and John's training is invaluable. You heard how he talks about the psychology of this, and I can tell you that John is one of the best copywriters that I know. That's all baked into this course, and that's exactly what you're going to find inside of this program.
Yeah, there is a ton on copywriting, and one thing that I cover that I don't really emphasize as much as I should is, and I'm glad that came up, the copywriting question came up, is I actually talk several different times about what I call micro copy or micro copywriting. It's that copywriting that's related to things like your article title, right? There's a sort of a black art and a science to putting together these great article titles. Now, you saw the template that I use, but if you want to actually go above and beyond the basic bare bones template, there's more training available to you. Again, it's a skill that transfers, as Jay has pointed out, I pointed out, it's a skill that transfers to articles, article writing, article headlines, any sort of article stuff that you're doing, but of course all the other writing you're doing in your business, whether it's an email you're writing up, the email subject line, sales page copy, it really, even training, the training itself, the material that you're putting together, presentations. If you work in a corporate environment, right, and this is something that you do, if you do online business, internet marketing on the side, the skills transfer to your day job if you have a day job as well, and you carry that into the corporate world. Very powerful stuff. We're talking about getting raises because you're more effectively writing emails to the boss.
Absolutely.
And you joke about, I joke about that, but it's really, really,
it's invaluable.
The skill transfer is crazy. It doesn't matter what environment you're in, whether you're working for yourself, a large company, working with a small team, whatever modality you happen to be in. Very powerful stuff built right in.
Jeff says, I'm in, thanks. Well, you will absolutely not regret it, Jeff. This is one of the best courses that I ever purchased in my, I've bought a lot of internet marketing products, and this is one of the first, actually, and it's one of my favorite, and certainly one that I got the most out of after purchasing. Leanne had a great point. Hang on, let me scroll up here. Leanne was talking about, we were talking earlier about getting winners, right? So maybe 1 or 2 of these out of 10 articles will be winners. They'll be triples or home runs or even grand slams, even, despite maybe you thinking, oh, this isn't going to work or whatever. That's just how it works. This is a numbers game, and the numbers are stacked in your favor in that way. At least that's how I like to think of it, but I'm a glass half full guy. And she said, once you have a winner like that, I'd start creating videos, et cetera, et cetera. I'm assuming she's talking about optimizing those keywords. Exactly. That's exactly what you want to do, Leanne. You want to start taking that into different formats. You want to start using those exact same keywords to crank out podcasts. Like I mentioned, you can read the article right into Audacity and create an MP3 and blast it out on a free podcast site. And you can create videos with a slideshow and just walk right through the text of the article with Camtasia, a screen capture program like that, which is free for 30 days, and blast that out as well on via TubeMogul, which is another free video distribution service. These are the building blocks of content, right? I like to start with text and sort of scale up from there. Sometimes I go the other way, start videos, and then get a, strip out the MP3 and make that, strip out the audio, make it MP3, and then get a transcription and make that the text. But the other way to go is to start with a humble little article and start combining them and building and transforming and into all these different formats. And that's exactly what you want to do, Leanne.
Yeah, that is great advice, Jay. That's exactly the thing to do. There's another another sort of sidebar here that's very much related to this number games idea. It is stacked in your favor. It really is stacked in your favor. It's almost impossible to write and submit 10 articles that have intentionality built in. You know what you're writing for. You have a goal. You know what you're writing for. You're bound to have some success. Now, here's the thing. Based on that success, and both Jay and Leanne have hit on this, you can then use that. Jay mentioned also assets. Every article is an asset, and Leanne is capitalizing on that in her comments about utilizing that in all these different ways. Well, here's something that I've only revealed a couple of times, and it's really kind of sneaky, and it's very interesting. Now, you've probably heard that that people who do paid advertising do an enormous amount of testing. They actually use paid advertising to test their offers and squeeze pages and headlines and that kind of thing. Well, I know people, and I've done this myself, and it's very effective, who use article marketing to test what it is they're doing in their market. So you can, because article marketing is so low profile and so low risk and so low cost, you can write a bunch of articles or have someone else write them for you, throw the articles out there, and very rapidly learn what is hot in the market. And then as a result of that data and finding what's hot in the market, then you go off and start building products. Then you start building niche blogs. Then you actually go out and go forth and prosper, so to speak, right? So they actually use article marketing as a test bed for what works and what doesn't work. By the way, you can always go back into an article and switch up and change the content of the article. You can also change the bio box. You resubmit the article and then see what kind of results you get. You can test that as well. You can test new bio boxes before you even move forward with a whole bunch of more content. So there's lots of testing and cool Ruby stuff you can do as well.
Wow, that is a golden nugget, John. I'd never even considered using article marketing for market research. I mean, imagine the possibilities if you're thinking of maybe creating an information product in a niche that may seem kind of out there. I mean, what better way to test the waters and the viability of maybe a larger project that would take some time to create than to just do the 10 articles, just like John was saying. Test different keywords and see the response that you get, see the views that it creates and the clicks that it generates. That's an amazing idea. That's awesome, John.
It's amazing. You can test so many things. You can test the bio box and click-throughs. You can test anchor text. You can test offers. The number one thing you want to test is your offer. Is your offer good? So you can test all these things and then go off and basically deliver the real deal. Like I said, this has had a big impact on some people, and they really only exclusively utilize article marketing for testing purposes. So there's a question here from Leslie. It's kind of a long one that came in, but it's about a forum. So John, will there be a forum of any kind where those of us who purchase the product can interact with one another, or would you really even want to, and so on? Leslie, in my experience in this material and this training, the direct access to me, honestly, is really all you need. The questions that you have are questions I've heard many different times. I can usually respond very rapidly, and that direct access for the 14 days solid of asking me any question as you're working through the training is pretty much what you want. So very, very cool here. And you don't need, and here's what's funny, you mentioned a little thing about creativity. Article marketing isn't really about creativity. It can drive some creativity, it can help you be creative, but for the most part, it's not about being terribly creative. So you're probably going to run into a roadblock like, hey, I just set up my bio box. Am I using the naked link appropriately? You're like, whoa, wait a minute, what's this naked link thing? So there are different kinds of links you can put in your bio box, and you might want to just make sure that the naked link is properly set up and structured and so forth. So that's the kind of stuff that you really want to get, and that's why I made myself available.
It says, just bought Juggy article. Can I also get a recording of tonight's webinar? Lots of great ideas here. Yeah, how about it? I mean, John, I'm really not surprised knowing uh, that's how John delivers day in and day out. I've been on trainings with John that have lasted 5 hours. So we've been talking about a humble, seemingly humble and innocuous, and what's that topic like article marketing tonight for 2.5 hours. And if you can't tell, we're kind of pumped up about this. We're jazzed. I mean, I know John is passionate about it. This is kind of how he got his start as well. So the question is, will there be the question is, will there be a replay of tonight's webinar? Yes, if the technological gods are smiling sweetly upon us here tonight. We're both recording this. Hopefully, one of those will make it to the to a replay link, and I will certainly send that out. If not tomorrow, then the following day.
Yeah, there's a question about the 14 days, right? So, we can have a little bit of a grace period in there. So I know that for some folks, they won't be able to download everything they want to download tomorrow or maybe even the next day. No problem there. We can start the 14 days, a day or two late, and that'd be cool. No worries on that. I don't want to, I don't want to block someone out for a, for a day or two. I can be a little bit flexible for that. No worries.
Like I said, I'm ready to drop the dime, John, just to have access to you for 14 days, just to have a back and forth with you, guaranteed for 14 days. That's worth it to me.
That really is a big deal. I would like to tell jokes about that and what that really means to me and how I'm putting myself on the line, but I think I really do think it's appropriate here because of the recordings and the nature of the questions people are asking. There's a need for that that level of support, and I want to make sure I deliver that value. So yeah, and for everyone who's invested, we have a lot of people, as you can imagine. A lot of people are on this webinar, in this workshop that we did tonight. And so, for everyone who's made the investment already, thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Jay appreciates it. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time tonight. And like John was saying, if the content that we have both provided to you here tonight is any indication, if the idea of 14 days of communication with a guy like John S. Rhodes is any indication of what you'll find inside of this training, then if you're thinking this may be a good idea, I can assure you that it is. That's just, John doesn't do anything halfway, neither do I. That's why we're friends, that's why we're business partners, and that's why we're bringing this information to you here tonight in this way.
I'm trying to see if there are any more questions that we might have missed along the way. I tried to answer just about everything because most of the questions, you guys were really, really on the ball, and virtually all the questions were targeted and very appropriate for the material we were covering. So I think I answered almost all the questions along the way. Jay, do you see any more
I'm sort of thinking through. If anybody out there has any more questions, now's the time to ask them. I'm going to log off here soon. I think my kids are in their PJs right now. I don't think they're asleep. I'd like to just go up and give them a hug before bedtime. If you guys have any more questions, then certainly type them in right now, and we'd be happy. I'm going to stay on as long as it takes, regardless, and I know John will.
There are a couple of questions here that literally just floated in the last minute and a half or so. And so one of the questions is, how long is the $97 good for? And we're looking at honestly probably 24 to 40, or well, I should say 48 to 72 hours. So in the range of 2 to 3 days. So I'm going to talk to Jay about what makes the most sense. Obviously, I've knocked the price down to Captain Ridiculous levels.
That's not what I paid for it, John.
Yeah, that's not what Jay paid. A lot of people paid, early on more. I knocked the price down, as really, like I said, as a friend of Jay's. So we're 2 to 3 days at the most. I would take action on it now so that you can get the information, download it, and really start digging in. That was one thing. Here's a comment from Aaron. Aaron says, I've invested and I see this being more valuable than the $1,000 investment I recently made with no support. As a matter of fact, of the content that you've simply provided in this webinar hits home at that value. So Aaron, thank you very much. And it's really no joke for me to say that many people have come back and said, John, this training is clearly worth $2,000 or more. It's much more valuable than these other packages that are a lot of vapor and big talk and nothing tangible that I can use. So Aaron, thank you very much about that. And then Sai says the webinar can be made into a standalone product. Sure, I mean the first chunk for sure, and even the questions. If you think about it, although we're talking a lot about Juggernaut article marketing, the product, we are also talking about all the different ways to leverage that knowledge. So yes, we're talking about the product, but in talking about the product and answering questions about the training that's available to you, this mentoring and the time that's available to you as well, you're learning about the bigger picture and all the different ways of using articles. So I couldn't agree more that the webinar itself could be a standalone product. So thank you for recognizing that. And Nikki says, this was one of the greatest trainings delivered by John Rhodes, right? So yeah, so the question here, Nikki follows up by saying, thank you. Nikki, thank you. That's high praise. I'm blushing. It takes a lot to make me blush, too. My question was on pen names. How do you use them? So here's the scoop. Here's the quick. You'll probably want to write this down, at least in the sidebar somewhere, like little notes, or type this one up. This is kind of a big deal. I personally use pen names to break up, segregate, and otherwise chunk up my niches. Here's why. I can't easily sell a business where my name is all over it. I just can't do it. If I have a website and my name's all over it, if my articles have my name all over it, if my product has my name all over it, then I can't turn around and sell that entire franchise or that business to someone else. And if I build something of value and someone else is willing to pay a lot of money for it and I'm not exploiting or otherwise using that asset, hey, I'm open for selling it. If my name is all over it, I can't flip it though, because it's so difficult to go in and change the names and make all of that, making all those updates. It's very painful. So I will associate a name with a niche. Think about the power of doing that. Imagine that you have a report, a book, 20 or 30 articles, a website, all these different things with a pen name. It's very easy, and even a new email address. You can very easily turn around and sell that entire franchise or that business to someone else. This is very, very big, right? So that's how I use pen names. I don't hide behind pen names. I don't really care if someone knows that I'm selling something on, birdhouse planters or purple finch bird feeders. I care a little bit. There's some obscurity that I need to have so people don't go after me because I'm somewhat high profile in some of my niches and some businesses. But even for the most part, I use those niches, I use the pen names for niche purposes. This is a big deal. This is a huge tip. That is a multi-$1,000 tip that I've provided only to high-end coaching clients. I mean, this is just not something I throw out there, but you guys are diehards for staying on this long, and I wanted to deliver that value. That is the power of pen names. It's the franchise and the selling power that you get.
Yeah, absolutely. And Aaron, I second your emotion there, talking about the value that John's delivered just on this training here tonight versus $1,000 guru product or whatever, some smoke and mirrors software, some crazy push button software that just doesn't pan out, does it? This isn't sexy stuff, right? We're talking article marketing. Article marketing, that's boring. That's old school. But you want to learn how to build a business? You want to learn how to get some skills. The most valuable skill, I think, in your internet marketing arsenal, which is writing. Do you want to get backlinks and drive some traffic, some completely free traffic to your web properties? Do you want to create some information products by combining these? Do you want to write a book, combining these articles to create these larger products, these larger entities? This is how you do it. You start with a humble article, and you have to know how to do it right. Don't make the same mistake that I did. I spent tons of money and lots of time doing it the wrong way. John's giving you a taste and some very actionable information on how to do it the right way here tonight. And if you want to dive in and learn some more, then he's giving you this very generous opportunity to do so at a price that I've never seen before for this product. So, John, thank you. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
Oh, I'm more than happy. It makes, I think it makes a lot of sense. A lot of folks know me. A lot of folks that are on tonight know me and know the value and so forth. So I'm kind of I'm giving back to the community. I'm giving back through you, Jay, as well. So thank you for organizing and bringing folks together. And thanks to everyone who's on. I'm actually looking for any more questions because I think we're pretty close to wrapping up. I'll take. I think this makes sense, Jay, because I know you want to give the kids a hug and kiss goodnight, and it's getting pretty late on the East Coast here as well. How about two more questions? I see one that's a good one, and I'll answer the ID question in just a moment. If there's another question, I'll answer two more questions. But here's this one: what is the typical cost for an outsourced, hot buyer type of article? Well, there's not an exact number. I will tell you that I typically pay, and it is typical, mileage may vary. I can't give you an exact number, but I'll tell you that there are a lot of writers that are more than happy to write in the $3 to $5 range, and the quality is high enough. I'm not saying you're going to get Shakespeare. It's not going to be, John Grisham kind of stuff. It's not going to be, page-turning kind of material. It's not going to be super sexy, copywriter-driven type of material that I might write. Nevertheless, you can get pretty darn good content in the $3 to $5 range, and on top of that, in the $3 to $6 range, you can get articles written and submitted. I get a lot of my articles, a whole ton of my articles, written and submitted for less than $3.50 in different niches that I work in. And different niches, that's another thing too. If you're working in some niches, it's going to cost you a little bit more because of the expertise required to do the research and the writing of those articles, which hopefully makes a lot of sense. Like if you're doing something that's weight loss or medical related or technology related or finance related, things that require maybe a little bit more skill, you're probably going to have to pay a little bit more money, and that's going to push your cost up to $4 and $5 and $6 versus the lower end $3 and $4. Yeah, I can't think of the last time I paid more than $7 or $8 for an article. If I did, there was a really, really good reason for it, like I was going to repurpose it, or I was chunking something up and I was going to use it for a for a PDF, or I was going to use it for a book or some other reason. But yeah, $3 to $5 typically is what you can find, and I talk a lot about where to find those people, what to look for, what kind of skills they ought to have, what kind of language do they need to be native English speakers or not, and so on and so forth. And I'm not sure why. Okay, Sally's saying, so this is the second question. Is there a reason you're not addressing this question? Not sure what question, Sally. Question is, where or how do you track the clicks? I am new to internet marketing, so this is all new to me. Okay, I'm not trying to ignore in any way, Sally. My apologies for missing it. Where or how do you track the clicks? So there are a few different ways of doing this, right? One way of tracking the clicks is right within. It's actually right within, for example, e-zine articles or e-zine articles, if you want to say it that way. So right in that environment, there are tools. There's a dashboard that's available to you. and you can track the clicks that way. They give you those reports. So the numbers that I get about my performance within that environment are right there. They're available to you. The other way that I track clicks is really simple. I just use, for example, I use a couple different systems, but one system I use is Google Analytics, right? And that's free. You can put that on your website, and you can track the incoming traffic from disparate sources, articles or blogs or otherwise, social media traffic coming in. So again, that's Google Analytics. You just drop the code into your blog or onto your website, and you can track traffic that way as well. So that's the way you sort of stay on top of these things and know what works and what's not working. I do see one more question that just slipped in, and Aaron, you'll be the last question here. You're the lucky question number 3 out of 2. And the
question number 103.
Yeah, 103. Okay, I know things like Fiverr work for me, versus your time and money, and I've used such things as WPEC. Not sure what that is. Autoblog Samurai for blog articles and so on. But are you showing ways to use article marketing to promote traffic only, or are there other tactics involved? Yeah. So here's the thing, right? I talk an awful lot about tools you could use, tools I don't use, and the approach for not only generating content but submitting and or mass submitting content. So I don't talk about WPEC, I don't talk about Autoblog Samurai per se, but I tell you exactly how I think about using these tools. I talk about what I personally have done, what's been successful, what doesn't work, some of those landmines and pitfalls, the pit of doom, and how to stay out of it. But I also talk about what other people do and how they've been successful, and feedback that students and clients have provided to me. Okay, so I can talk about that, or you'll actually see that within the training. If something doesn't pop out at you, or you're not getting the exact answer, I can give more recommendations and point you in exactly the right direction, depending on what you need. If your niche is different, or your market is different, or your situation is different, I can certainly help with that as well. Okay? So, all right, Jay, I'm off, and I think you're probably off too. I'll kind of wrap up, and then Jay, you can certainly wrap up if you don't mind. So thank you, everyone. Again, I appreciate your time, the investment. Congratulations for interacting so much and baking so much of this into your brain. Great questions. I always appreciate these questions. Obviously, I'm really passionate about this stuff, and you sort of fuel my fire, and I just really appreciate that. And Jay, once again, thanks for inviting me on, giving me the opportunity to teach and train and share my knowledge and really interact with lots of really, really cool people.
Yeah, great questions tonight, huh?
Great questions. And for everyone who's invested, and that's a lot of people, thanks for making the investment. You make my life possible. You make Jay's life possible. So thank you for the investment. It keeps us going, obviously. And again, what I'll do is 2 things, and then I really am done. Number 1 is there's the link one more time so you can see it. It's jsrhelp.com/JB. Really mysterious there, right? Jay Boyer, so JB. And also, just once again, this is for any sort of support that you need from tonight, or any sort of consultation that you need. Again, that one question that you can answer or get answered per day, there is that support email as well. Again, that creates a help desk ticket. I get notified, it gets high priority, and that's how you get access to me via email with your questions for the next 14 days or so. So again, thanks everyone, and take care.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I really, really appreciate your time, and I appreciate the time of everybody who has, chosen to invest, to spend, almost, quickly approaching 3 hours with us here tonight. I really appreciate it, and I hope and trust that we've made it worth your while. And I'm assuming that if you've gotten to the almost 3-hour mark, that you've gotten some value from this. You've learned something from John here tonight, just the content that he's provided to you on this free training. And if you're sort of thinking, well, gosh, this is kind of interesting, maybe I'd like to have a closer look at it, I recommend that you do. I really do. And I can almost guarantee that you won't see this price ever again. This is like sort of a best buddy price here. John and I do a lot of stuff together, so I asked him to give you all a break with this price here tonight. It's, as I mentioned, it's a lot cheaper than what I bought it for. So once again, thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to go tuck the kids into bed. John, thank you so much for your time and your attention here tonight, and I will see you all soon. I will get this processed and mailed out to you, if not tomorrow, then the following day. And I thank you all very much.
Thanks, everyone.